I said, I'm Ted Devotum. You can call me Baker. That's my first name. And I'm not sure what they told you when they went out and talked to you just now.
I can assume what it's about. Whenever he said it was happened Tuesday night.
What was that?
That my friend got shot and killed. And I was just there at his house. I got off work and I went over there. It's just like so surreal what's going on. I don't even know what fate.
Well, one thing that I do need to do real quick before we get started talking about anything, and just when you watch the movies, this happens when somebody's under arrest. That's not the way it works in the real world. We always have to read your rights ahead of time before we get talking too much. That's just the way it works. But people always get worried what it means. But it's just because anytime we talk to people, ask questions, we got to do it. Okay? So if you want to read this with me while I read it to you, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk to an attorney for advice before we ask you any questions. Again, a foreign attorney won't be appointed for you before any questioning if you wish. If you decide to answer any questions now without an attorney, you will still have the right to stop answering questions at any time. And if you want to read those last two out loud and just initial.
You also have the right to stop answering at any time until you talk to an attorney.
Oh.
Do you understand each of these rights I have explained to you? Yes. Having these rights in mind, do you wish to talk to us now? Yes.
Okay. If you just initial down next to each of those and then next to the yeses. So the last time you saw him was that night?
That night.
About what time did you go over there?
Last work. Probably about 9:30, 10, I guess. 10. So that takes me like 45 minutes to get into the side of the area because it's all the way out of Beaufort.
And where do you work?
Secession. It's like Ladies Island area. You got to go over 2 bridges. Then I wanted to stop by because I hadn't seen him since he had his DUI. And I was like, I'm just going to go check up on him. I know he's been suffering from depression and the restaurant closing and everything. And, I've gone through the same types of things with depression and suicidal thoughts and actually attempts. And so I went over there to check up on him, and he was doing good. He had a peel mask on, and he was in his room. I guess I called him
like
at an off
facial?
time. A facial. He had a facial on, and we just sat outside and talked. We just talked.
Did he know you were coming by?
No, he didn't know.
You decided to surprise him?
I was on the way home, and I was like, I'm passing his house. I'm just going to stop by. Because I don't think we've ever really communicated over the phone. It's just like I'll see him, or he'll come by my house and we'll hang out or whatever, whatnot.
How long had it been since you'd seen him before that?
Maybe a couple of weeks. Okay. Like 10 days, not even like a whole long time.
How do you know him?
I know him from Peppers. Mm-hmm. We used to go up there because we're right down the road from Peppers. So we being my husband and I, and we would go to the back bar, and that's how we met John. And then whenever it became, it was Jack's, and then it was Peppers, but he was there throughout the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And so we met him at the back bar and just clicked. Like, I can't even forget his birthday because he's like literally 2 months and 9 days off for my birthday. And we were talking about how, same generation, the same stuff. We're kidding about, different colors, Converse, and stuff like that. That's about it. We just got along. He was in the restaurant business. He was trying to get me to come there and work. And then I was like, I don't think you can afford me. So, and
what do you want you to do over there?
Bartend.
Okay.
I need to bartend. That's about it. I mean, we really didn't have that close of a relationship. He was just someone that I could talk to.
What about he and your husband? How was their relationship?
They had a good relationship. Yeah, I mean, at first they were better friends than he and I were, and then I don't know if my husband just started getting jealous of him and I, like, hanging out.
You mentioned the whole Facebook thing led to jealousy.
Yeah, that was way before any of this, but yeah, he, he gets jealous, but so I was like, okay, and that's what he doesn't know. I went over there that night. Mm-hmm. So I went at the house. I'm like, what is it? Because I don't want him to get upset with me for going over there, and.
Do you and John have an intimate relationship?
No.
Have you ever?
No.
Not even once.
Only the closest contact we've ever done is a hug.
Did anybody else stop by while you were there?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else at the house while you were there?
I don't know. I mean, I know his dog was there. He said someone was inside, but I don't know who it was. We just sat out.
Went in?
Never went in. We just sat right outside, and my car was parked in the driveway, and we were both just kind of leaning up against it.
How long were you there?
Honestly, I don't even remember how long I was there. It could have been 30 minutes. It could have been an hour.
What all did y'all talk about?
We just talked about, his restaurant, his parents, what he plans on doing next. Because we keep telling him, I'm like, just because this one closed doesn't mean another restaurant's going to come open. Because that, was that really hurt his ego and, got him upset. And I don't like seeing people upset like that. And I knew that he could do it. He was stronger. He's young. He's got so much support, his parents, his friends, and so we were just talking about, how he's selling stuff off out of the restaurant so he can get some money and move forward. That was, that was it. I mean, we never really talked about we flirted, but it never, went too far.
How did he seem? I mean, and I ask you this because I know he's been using a little bit more.
Yeah, and that's another thing that brings, cause of concern, because the time prior, before I saw him, it was at a friend's house, and he was there, and he could barely walk. And it's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and he's getting in his car. And then it was another week goes by, the accident happened. And so I was like, okay, he's getting in deep. It's like spiraling out of control now. So that's, I stopped by. We just talked about that and tried to give him some words of encouragement, and calm him down. Give me a hug. I'm here for you. If you ever need anything, you can call me. I'm right down the road. Like, he's played with my son. We all get along. And then I didn't hear about what happened until last night, whenever I got home from work. And I was just like,
how'd you find out?
What? The WTOC app I have on my phone. And it said, Bluffton police were called out to 39 Pinecrest Way. And I was like, 39 Pinecrest Way? And I'm like, wait a second. And then there was this picture. I don't know if I just, compartmentalized everything and still don't want to think that it's true. But sitting right here, yeah, it's so happened. And I don't know what.
Have you ever been there before?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who's been there when you've been there before?
There was his maid was there one time. So she claimed she was his maid, but I don't know who she really was. Mm-hmm. And then just him and his dog.
Was she cleaning when she was there?
She had on cleaning clothes, I guess, and her hair was back, and she was kind of like sweeping and taking care of the dog mainly, but I wasn't there for 5 minutes. It was around lunch one day or something, lunch-ish.
When we were at your house, I noticed you guys have surveillance cameras all over the house.
Yeah.
What is that all about?
They were there before. They don't even work.
They don't work?
They don't work. Yeah.
Are you
You know,
paranoid or
we
illegal?
got
So, you know,
into
there's two different trains of thought.
Well, yeah, they don't work. They haven't worked since we've been living there for the last couple of years. The people that were there before us had all of that put up. And when we, they don't work.
Do y'all rent?
We do rent.
Who do you rent from?
Paul Lane. He's out of Atlanta. But whoever it was before, because when we were moving in, they still had stuff there. They had a lot of stuff there. And they were moving cross country or something. And so we were like, okay, well, if you want us to move this stuff into the little that building that was over there, we can keep it there. And if you come back, you can have it. And they never came back and got it. They just left. And
what kind of stuff is it?
Just like weird, random housewares, George Foreman grills, oak bar, couch, just their stuff. They left stuff in the refrigerator, food.
Your parents lived there with you?
Yes.
Let's kind of walk through the other night. You leave work. Tell me, you stop at a gas station on the way home, and I'm trying to gauge timing-wise, when you left, when you got there, like what kind of time frame we're looking at. Maybe if you went somewhere after you left his house.
I did so I left work. I went, trying to think the route that I took, to take 170 to 278, and then turn on Buckwalter, and then I went, and I was like, oh, I just saw the sign, and I just thought of it. And I did have a vodka drink, before I left work. Not gonna lie. And, so I had some emotions running, and I wanted to see him, and so I stopped there before I went home, because if I would have gone home, I wouldn't have been able to go out again. And so, we were just, I guess, talking, and then I couldn't tell you how long it really was. I don't remember.
Right.
I really don't remember. And then I left, and I went and got 2 bottles of Pinot Noir, and
from
Parker's.
Only place open.
From Parker's. And I know this is a bad call in judgment, but I did open that line. My husband hasn't had a drink in over a year, as of September 1st, and he doesn't like, for me, that, I don't want to bring it around him. So I kind of rode around and drank on that bottle of wine, and I took the other bottle home with me and gave it to my mom, because she drinks red wine.
Yeah.
Oh, I brought you a bottle of wine home.
Yeah.
And
where did you ride around to?
A little bit of, just kind of staying close to home, but 46 and the farm area and back through his neighborhood. I think I went back through there maybe one time, and I had another friend that kind of went by her house to see if she was still living there. And
did you talk to her?
No, I didn't stop and talk to her. It was way too late. She had the son with autism. I had her phone number, and I was like, yeah, it's too late. But until that, it was a small bottle. I don't even think I finished all of it.
Which of us is like, where the hell have you been? I mean,
no, because he knows sometimes I can get home at midnight, depending on how late these members stay and eat.
Right.
And then we have to clean up everything, break down everything. And literally, it's so small and tight in that area that our wine glasses, we clean them, and then they go back in boxes and put away, because we don't have anywhere to store them. So that's a lot of extra work on top of what you're already doing. So my time frames are always, I had one party, I got home at 9:30, and then 10:30. The latest I've clocked out of there is 11:30. And then the drive time, get home 12:15, 12:30. So, and our Verizon bill came in, and it was $800 and something dollars.
How's that?
Thank you, Hargray, for not having our wireless work properly, because whenever my son comes home, he wants to get on the tablet and watch YouTube. Well, it wasn't hooked up to the wireless, so data.
Wow.
And I think we had missed a month too, so we were behind on a month because it was about $400 a month.
Yeah.
So our phones were turned off, so I couldn't even call anybody. They've been off for like 2-3 days.
It's a long time without a phone.
What day is it?
These
Yeah,
days, that's a real long time.
I know.
When you said you were driving back and you left word 17278, and then you saw a sign that made you think about going, which sign are you talking about that you saw?
The Pinecrest.
The Pinecrest sign?
Yeah.
So at that point, you already decided you weren't going home yet.
Yeah.
Where were you going? You just drive? What were you doing?
I was going to John's. So
okay, so you already decided to. It wasn't the sign. You were going there. That's where you were.
Well, I go home that way. I usually go all the way down Buckwalter, come to the light, and turn left at 46.
Okay, so you don't take 278 all the way down to Buck Island or anything?
I have.
Okay.
I mix it up.
I got you.
Yeah, I mix it up. If the light is green, then I go. If it's red, I turn.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did he happen to mention any issues he was having?
He's been having a lot of issues, and I don't know who these people are. Mm-hmm. All I hear is that these black people, and I don't know who they are. Mm-hmm. And I know there was like one guy that he was a little weary about that worked for him, all through Facebook, something that he posted on Facebook, and the guy had like a gun and like money or something, trying to show off. And I heard that guy had come around, and whenever they were like getting rid of stuff, because they had to come and get their last paychecks or something, which I don't know if this is true or not. This is just what I heard from him, and that's all I keep hearing is that he owes money to whoever he's getting these pills from, and the habit was like so bad. We're like, that's why I'm worried about you. You can't do that many and still even have a pulse right now.
Right. So you think his habit was excessive?
Very, very excessive. I mean, it would have to be hundreds of dollars a day habit.
What now? The bullet hole in the front glass at your place.
Yeah.
What is?
That's been there. That has been there since we moved in. I don't know how it happened, how long it's been there. We just noticed it was taped up. I got a quote for the glass. It was outrageous. So I said, okay, we'll just go with it.
Has your husband been shot before?
He has been shot in Allendale, South
Carolina.
How long ago was that? How long ago was that? 2 years ago?
Oh, so that didn't happen here.
No. It was a completely separate thing that he was up there with one of his friends, and his friends got into a mix with some bad friends, and then guns come out. He runs. He didn't have a gun. He runs and gets shot in the back of the leg.
Did they ever find out who did it? I mean, prosecution wise.
So what was he doing over in Allendale?
He was with one of his friends out there. Yeah, they were going out there for the weekend. I'm not quite sure exactly what they were doing. They were just hanging out. He has a hunting. They like to go hunting, like bow hunting, and so his friend had some land out there, and then I guess it was late. They went to the gas station. There was one gas station in town, and
it was pretty small.
Yeah. And I think it was like an attempted robbery on what was going on. And because I Google Earthed it from where he was, and we've got all these papers in where the helicopter picked him up and everything, and I'm looking at the road, so I Google Earthed it to see, and there's some, kind of housing projects right behind there, so.
Let me ask you a question, and I don't want you to feel like I'm interrogating you. On the street, the word is that your husband may have been involved in some sales at some point in his past.
In his past, yes.
When did all of that stop?
That stopped because we were also having some marital issues, and I wasn't going to come back unless it ceased. And that was in 2012.
Were y'all living down here then?
We were living down here, and I had actually come across an old acquaintance, and, and I was telling him about my situation and everything, and, we had been intimate in the past, and then just seeing him brought up more stuff, and then he's like, you know what, you don't need to be in that environment.
Right.
And then just a couple months went by, and I'm like, I don't want to break up the family, and my son, and, like, I see my husband, he's, drinking a ton because I'm not there, and so we decided to work it out, but that was my one, you've got to stop everything.
Was
like,
he
I don't
using and drinking, or selling, or what was his?
A little bit of everything. A little bit of everything. And that's whenever he decided to quit the drinking and everything. And now he's been sober for over the year. Yeah, it took some steps to get him there.
Right. But
that, all stopped. Because I don't feel safe, in being mixed up in any type of that, I've gone through cancer. I don't want to have to deal with looking over my shoulder for weird stuff. So, and my son in the house. So I went back to him, and we worked it out, and we did some counseling, and, we had divorce papers drawn up and everything.
So you're on the brink of it's over.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about as of late? Has anything weird been going on around the house, or
no.
Is he paranoid about anything?
No, we had there's two houses going down the street.
Past
one on
your
the,
house?
Past our house. One of them has been empty for a few months. The other one has been empty for a few years. And the whole house was furnished. So the neighbors and I started noticing, because stuff was getting stolen out of the yard. And stuff was getting stolen out of our yard. And so we have some motion lights. That's about it. We've got some lights up. But we would just hear things at night. And go out. Someone was trying to steal the copper off of our AC unit. It was taken apart.
Yes.
We're like, okay, but they didn't get anything. It's got to be someone close.
Right.
Or they're not in the right frame of mind. So we just kind of screwed the thing back on and rigged it to where you would not be able to get it open. And then we had another, where that little shed is, there's a driveway. And we had an older hot water heater and another unit, an older unit, right there. And then it's gone.
Right.
So we've had some weird stuff going on. And I know it's not just with us, because I talked to the guy where it was a whole trailer of stuff stolen. Yeah. And the trailer was his. They took the trailer and everything. And so we've all just been kind of looking out for each other.
Right.
And then what is weird, what night was that? The other night, I went outside to go smoke a cigarette on the porch outside the house, and there's this white pickup truck. You can see the lights coming down the road. They're going really slow. So we're like, what is that guy doing? It looks like the truck that we heard was taking stuff. Well, come to find out, it was a neighbor down there, so we both stopped and talked, and he said that there was a vehicle that had come down and drove through his yard, his backyard, and that he tried to stop them, and they took off. And so I was like, okay, well, you've got my number. If you see anything, if I see anything, I'll let you know. Because he was like, are you having a party? I was like, no, there isn't anyone at our house. This is at 10:30 at night. I got to get Chase to school in the morning. It's just weird. There has been some weird stuff, there were people squatting. There's another little turnoff. They were squatting down there, so that made everyone uncomfortable. And I think we called the cops 1 or 2 times when they came down there and kind of scurried them away, because I think they were coming from whatever that neighborhood is.
Vista View.
Yeah. Vista View.
What, go back to your husband real quick. What does he do for work these days?
He's just been doing subcontracting. He had to sell his landscaping business because he got injured with the gunshot, and so that he can't walk.
So he hasn't been able to do a whole lot since.
Right. So all he is doing is getting the work, because we still had a huge client base when it happened, and so he knows other landscapers, so we get the work and then sub it out to them.
Gotcha. Well, what is his name?
Sam Collins.
Let's go back to Tuesday night. How many times you said you've been there one other time before? And when do you think that was?
Okay, let's see. That was
Was it
maybe like in a week?
Was it before or after his little suicidal?
It was after the suicidal issue.
But before?
But before the DUI.
Okay. And how did you know where he lived?
He told me. He told me where he lived.
Did you know that he was living with somebody else? That somebody else lived there with him?
He said his lawyer. He'd always go, my lawyer roommate or boss.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And then I think I've never seen Voss there. And I know that he's done a lot for John and helped him get out of instances, but I've never met Voss before.
So when you get there, you leave. Which way did you leave? Which way did you come in? Did you come in by the pool, or did you come in?
I think I did come in by the pool and turned in. Now I can't remember if I went out and went that way, or if I went out and went that way. Is that alcohol? I can't remember. Really can't.
And you said you went back through the neighborhood again?
Yeah. Well, I was kind of like, if you go out the one side, you can go right over to the farm. I rode around the farm a little bit and came back across and rode around and then started heading home.
When do you think the last time your husband talked to him was? Who has a closer relationship, you or your husband with John?
My husband would talk to him more frequently. The last time he probably talked to him, I know him and I both saw him over at the friend's house. And that was before the suicidal stuff, before the DUI stuff. And he was in good spirits. It was maybe 2 weeks after the restaurant had closed. And we were talking about even seeing if Secession would be able to buy any of the liquor or any of the small wares or anything. And so I was like, yeah, I'll go and talk to my general manager and see what we can do. I need a list of your liquor because we only have certain ones and not,
right.
So that never really worked out. And then he said he had another buyer for it. And that was the last time my husband and I saw him. And I don't think that, as far as on the phone, I could tell you the last time we talked to him. I haven't heard him talking to him. Or
is that something they do? They talk on the phone though, or
yeah,
they still have that kind of a friendship?
They would talk on the phone. Yeah. So we were all pals there. It's like.
How often would he come over to your house?
Gosh, there for a little bit, every other day sometimes. Just during the week, and then sometimes if he had a little break off at work, he'd just stop by and smoke a few cigarettes, and I gotta go back to work, and he's brought us food a couple of times,
and you guys just met up there at the restaurant.
Yeah.
Would you say at one point he's coming over every other day? When, what kind of time period was that where it was every other day? When was that?
I think it was around my birthday. My birthday was 10/10. So, like, around
like
those
this year?
2, yes.
So just recently?
Yes, just recently. He was coming over there, and him and my husband, they would hang out, play video games. I actually had him, like, help my son figure out how to do the Xbox because I didn't know how. And so he loves playing video games. And Sam's gone over to his house to play video games. That's a little while ago, and I don't think he might have done that once or twice. I'm not sure. And, yeah, we would just hang out, just hang out.
When did that stop, him coming over so much?
As soon as the suicide, all of that happened, and he was going suicidal, he shut in. He shut everybody out. He shut himself in. And I couldn't even, get him to answer the door, a phone call or anything. And then, I heard he left his house and went to somebody's mom's house because he was really depressed, and I don't know why. I mean, maybe he wanted that motherly figure and just a safe area, but we didn't really talk to him after that. And then, I stopped over there, and then the DUI happened, and then that's whenever I was really worried about him because I saw that picture, and it looked like he had been in an accident, and the car's totaled, and that makes you worry.
What did he tell you about his drug dealer? I mean, you said he's using excessively. What do you know about who he was getting it from?
The only thing, he was a black guy. You know what? He looks like Kanye West. That's what he looks like. I've been trying to think in my head who and what he looked like because he showed me a picture of him in his phone. If y'all can get it. I know that picture was in his phone because he showed it to me one time. And he said, oh, this guy wanted me to delete all of his pictures out of my phone. And I was like, why? And then that doesn't make any sense. He's supposed to be your friend.
Right.
Well, turns out it wasn't his friend, it was his dealer. So that's whenever I kind of found out what was going on with that and who he was. And I think his name's like Isaiah or something, but they call him Talk.
Who's they, meaning
like John and Josh and Corbett. I think Corbett's who he's...
Who's Josh?
Josh, I don't even know his last name. He goes by nicknames too. I just know his first name.
Corbett is his...
Corbett and John were really close. And, that was when he was, not feeling good. He went to Corbett's house.
Gotcha.
He went to Corbett's house, and Corbett used to come to our house, and John, we'd all, get along just fine, and then it's just confusing to where all of these drugs were so easily accessible to John. That's what got me. And where did he get the money? And did he owe them money, or I don't know. I don't really want to, I don't try and get into that scene because I don't want to.
Yeah. And that's kind of the commonality of the people that you just talked about. Okay, you've got Josh, Corbett, John, who all, we're police officers. We kind of know what goes on. And then you've got your husband. Y'all don't fit in the mix unless there's something going on your end as well. I mean, a recovering addict or a recovering alcoholic does not put themselves in a social situation. And that's what I'm waiting on you to tell me is, okay, yeah, my husband, and I don't care if he sells or deals or whatever with these guys. We're trying to find out who it is that John is indebted to. And this little network of folks, I mean, somebody's got to hold the answer.
Yeah.
Okay? You guys aren't completely innocent in the whole situation. And I don't care about that. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to find out who killed John.
Yeah.
Okay? So let's kind of...
Well, I know, yeah, recovering, you don't want to do that. And I think that's why he wanted to be around John, was to put him on the right track. And that was my whole thing, too, was to put him on the right track. You're smarter than that. You don't need to be on these drugs. Whenever I was going through cancer, I fell right into the opiate addiction and pulled myself out of it. And I was like, there is, a light at the end of the tunnel. Now, who he is indebted to, I really wouldn't know that information,
I mean, do you know if he and Josh and Corbett, are they all buying from the same person? I mean, your husband, is he using it all that you know of?
No.
That you know of?
No. Because he has to go to the doctor and get drug tested every
What's
month.
that for?
For his work?
For his work, and to go for, he always gets his legs checked up on.
And they drug test him just to check on his leg?
Mm-hmm.
He said he was subcontracting.
To make sure that he's not using and that he's not on anything.
What? I mean, I don't know.
I've
never had that kind of surgery or anything, but I've never heard of a doctor refusing to treat you if you're on drugs.
This doctor, yeah, marijuana, anything, yeah. He does that. He drug tests them. So I know that he's good. I know that he's of sane mind, and he's smarter than me. I ask him for more advice, and it's just, I don't know who would want to do this to John, even if it was over money or whatever. That seems very minuscule to me. Honestly.
You said he also gets tested for work, but you said he's subcontracting, so he doesn't really have a boss or anything that he's working for.
No, I mean, he can get that for work, but through the disability and the lawyers and everything, they need proof of that as well in order for him to get disability. So he's trying to...
Proof of the injury.
Yes, we are working on that. We haven't nailed down a lawyer yet, so that's why he's doing what he can until we can get him on disability. Because, I mean, he was the sole breadwinner, and I hadn't had a job yet or since cancer hit, so that was a few years. And, once I got the job and he could kind of step back and do what he could with subcontracting before we could really focus on getting him disability, because it's just wearing him down. The whole trying to walk and being in pain and going to physical therapy.
You make pretty good money subcontracting?
Enough to pay $900 rent, but nothing.
Because it sounds to me like most of it's falling on you as far as the money making goes. So I know subcontracting in the way that you're talking about it can't be very lucrative.
No. And that's why it's so important that I try and hold on to this job. This is the first job that I actually make good money to get us out of the hole we're in. And we have my mom, my dad there, also helping, but they're going to be moving out in like less than a month. They already have a place. So it's like we're all trying to get on top of, back on our feet, because everyone kind of hit their own little patch, and so we came together as a family, and just now we're getting out of the hole.
Right. When the officers got there today, did you throw something in the back of that boat?
Oh, no.
No. Did you go over to the boat?
I did, yeah. I did go over the boat, because I was wondering if someone was in the boat calling 911. They were saying that 911 kept going off. So I was like, okay, can I look around there? I was like, sure. And then I just thought, is someone in the boat?
Right.
So I just stepped up and looked over.
Gotcha. Is that y'all's boat?
Yeah.
And what about the property like next to that little shed thing, that's on y'all's property too.
Yes.
Do y'all own any weapons?
No.
None.
No.
No handguns, BB guns,
No.
shotguns.
That's a rough area out there. Like most people that live out there have something.
What about your dad? Do you know if he has any weapons?
No, he can't. We can't have weapons because he is a convicted felon.
Your dad?
Mm-hmm.
What was?
Oh, it was
just for
something way
a long time ago.
Yeah, cocaine or something. I'm not quite sure, but that was like 11 years ago, and so we don't operate with guns.
What about your husband? Has he ever been arrested for anything before?
He has.
He
has. She arrested him. Gosh, again, that was so long ago. It was some ecstasy pills in Augusta, and then he did 10 years probation
for that
service, yeah, all that, and that's been all done and taken care of. Everything's good with that. That's been over for a while, but we know we can't have weapons in the house, and yeah, it's quiet back there, but there's a guy, we call him our security system because he rides up and down on the golf cart 24/7, and he really looks out for weirdness and stuff going on.
Does he live down there? Is he like the mayor of Fuck Pointers?
He is. He totally is. He's like retired from the Marines, and so on his golden days, that's what he does. And it makes me feel safer. I know I wave to him every day, and so.
Have you, your husband and John, have they ever had any sort of, I mean, you said at one point he got jealous. I'm trying to figure out how you knew he was jealous. Like, what was going on there? Did they get into a fight at one point?
Oh, no. Like, John didn't even know what was
John didn't even know
John didn't even know that he was jealous. Whenever, like, let's say, you're John and you're my husband and we're talking, and then my husband's going to see us talking, or I might be talking too much more to you and not paying attention to you. That'll be like, oh, you like John, but that wouldn't happen until we're in the house. And sometimes it's like kidding, but sometimes with our past stuff, it,
He's
I
taking a dig at you.
Yeah, I can see where he's coming from with
John
that.
Have any girlfriends?
I haven't had John. I haven't known John to have a girlfriend since I've known him. And I know he always wears that Tiffany bracelet, and that was from his previous girlfriend that broke his heart. I only know stories about it.
Do you know what her name is?
No, I don't.
We keep hearing that, but nobody knows who this girl is.
I know. I don't know how long ago it was that they broke up. I don't know if she lives here. All I know is that necklace represents her.
I'm going to step out for a second.
So, go ahead.
Is there not any, like I heard there was someone at the house.
Who'd you hear that from?
Someone said, who was that? Someone was like, oh, someone was there. That was from Josh.
Oh, okay, from Josh. Josh told you that?
Yeah, he told me that.
You mean at the house when it happened, is what you're saying?
He said that he was at the house earlier. I think what happened was he was there. He said he left around 8-ish or something, and then I was there after that, and then someone else was there after that. But I don't know who or what or why even.
You say you know Josh's last name, but you know some nicknames for him? Mm-hmm. What sort of nicknames?
Yosh.
Yosh?
Yosh.
What other?
You know, I talked to Josh briefly because his wife and I talk and our kids play. And so whenever I talked to her, she called me and I don't know, she was just hysterical. Like, I can't believe anyone would do this to him, you know, to John, and we cried about it. And I mean, I'm just, I don't know what to think. I really don't know what or who would do this.
Did John ever give you any ideas on his plans for getting out of debt or some money-making plans or anything like that? What he wanted to do?
No. One thing, which I don't know is a true statement or not, but when he was over at our house, he had the lawsuit papers with the restaurant. You know, he would come to us and everything. We would give him advice and stuff because my husband, father-in-law, he's a federal court judge, so we try and get, you know, advice. Sometimes, oh, what if this person is in this situation? What, you know, would they do? And so he was just worried that he wasn't going to be left with anything. But once you sell everything out of the restaurant, I thought that it would be able to pay off their loan, I guess, that they were in issues with, but I guess it wasn't enough money. Then I heard that he was exchanging counterfeit bills through some bank, which he knew the general manager, and I'm like, man, how are you going to exchange counterfeit bills? The feds are going to be right on top of that. Because there was a kid in my high school years ago that was doing that, and they came and rushed him in school, and he had, you know, federal charges. So I don't know if that was a lie or something to just say, but why would you say something like that?
Where was he getting counterfeit bills from?
Talk.
What bank was he using?
See, that's what I don't know. He would never release the bank. He just said that he was good friends with the bank manager. And whenever, I guess whoever they were, this is what it was, the bank that the restaurant used. He would take in the restaurant deposits with the counterfeit and deposit it in the restaurant account. And then I guess the manager started realizing, hey, counterfeit bills no go. Do you have, you know, can you replace these? I still don't know what bank it was.
So he was basically washing counterfeit bills through Peppers.
Through the restaurant.
And, okay. Who was? Apparently, John was receiving counterfeit bills from Talk, from Isaiah, and was depositing them in whatever bank he would deposit the Pepper Sports stuff in. And he knew the general manager for this bank, so the general manager was kind of letting it go through initially. And he said somebody figured it out. So he said somebody figured it out.
The manager, the branch manager of the bank.
Okay, so
figured it
GM's boss figured it out?
See, that I don't know. I don't know if it was just in-house or if it was like a regional or somebody else that figured it out. I'm not sure on that one. But he was upset about that, and he didn't know what to do. And then he had his lawsuit papers, and I remember looking over them because he didn't know what to do about the sipping cow lady and how she's coming in and trying to take more than what she was deserved, and that had him in, you know, all kinds of stress and anxiety and on top of depression. I mean, you have so many things hitting you at once. I can see why he went out of control. But I felt like he was coming back. Like, he was normal whenever I talked to him that night. It wasn't like
he wasn't
the
strung
night
out
before.
like he was.
Right. It wasn't like the time before when I saw him and he is, can't even walk down the stairs when he's about to go drive.
Mm-hmm.
His eyes are, rolling in the back of his head. This was normal John.
Right. What? Now, you wear a uniform at work, or what do you wear?
Yes, I do.
Did you change at all?
No. I probably just had on like a tank top. I typically wear a button-down black shirt, but I always have on something underneath it. I think I just had on a black tank top underneath it, and I put my shirts on the hanger in the back seat.
What kind of bottoms do you wear?
Black.
Shoes?
Black.
Like
black loafers. I think not tennis shoes. Loafers.
And that's what you're wearing when you're at his house. Mm-hmm. Did you see any other cars or any other people down there at all? I mean, you said, I guess you're kind of...
Yeah, I was kind of loopy. I remember us both turning and looking at one car, but it didn't, like, register as anything different or out of the ordinary. Yeah, I can't.
Did you have contact with any other people that night at all? I mean, any other friends? You're driving around drinking your wine. I mean, did you pick anybody up?
No.
Did you ever stop anywhere?
No.
Pull over?
To get wine. Just to get wine.
Do you have a wine? Is it a twist top or?
I'm a waitress. I had a wine key.
Ah.
I know. And you know what? And it's like weird because I don't do that on a regular basis. Like
right.
I've been good on not drinking. Mm-hmm. The drink at work, after I'm clocked out,
right.
Okay, and then I would nothing on the way home. Then I don't know what it was. It was just like
stressful days, stressful nights, a lot on your mind.
Work has been stressful. I haven't been getting the shifts that I want, and then there's just little things with the members. They're paying $100,000 a year to be there, so they already think they're up
and they
here.
don't have to tip you, and
they don't have to be nice. I'm there for them to cater to them, so that can throw me in for a loop. And so I just wanted to, try and marinate and not bring that animosity home with me, because I bring it home and I start bitching about work whenever I get home. He hates that. I don't want to hear about work. I need somebody to vent to.
Right.
So and John let me do a little bit of that. We're talking about work, restaurants, and how it's a fickle bitch and shit happens, and you just gotta keep going.
Do you ever stop anywhere else on your way home, like other friends' houses or other bars? I mean, you stop. There's like the Blue Moon Saloon or whatever that.
I stopped.
Yeah.
I have stopped at a bar one time on the way home, but it's at the Mad Hatter.
Yeah,
the Mad Hatter. Yeah, I stopped.
How was that place?
Old and redneck. So I had like 2 beers and I was gone. Haven't been back, but other than that, I mean, I don't have a lot of friends in the area. I lost a lot whenever I left work and whenever I got off Facebook. I just lost communication with them.
Right.
And my best friends aren't in town. They're in Michigan and Augusta and LA. And so I'll FaceTime, Snapchat, that sort of thing. But I don't really have like girls' night or stuff like that. I guess I've did a little too much partying back in the day and kind of out of me.
How old are you?
34.
Yeah, you're getting there.
Yeah.
Just
not worth it.
Yeah.
Not even worth it.
Not worth it. You have responsibilities.
And now today, my mom and I, we're like looking for clothes that I can make into zombie costumes for Halloween. But And then you guys showed up, and I was just like, 911 calls. This is weird because and I knew I was going to be talked to because I was one of the last people there. I saw him, and I can't even believe anyone would have the balls to do that.
Did you ever go to the clubhouse at all? No. What about the pool? Pull over on the side of the road, stop to pee, change clothes, anything like that?
No, not that I can recall. I think I peed at Parker's. I don't like peeing.
Cleaner
they
on
have
the side
clean
of the
baths.
road.
I know.
Sometimes it is.
It is, but no, I remember, I might have drove through that little pool thing, but I don't know why I would have gone that way instead of that way.
How much did you have to drink at work?
I had two screwdrivers. Pretty heavy cord screwdrivers.
So, more like 4 screwdrivers or something?
Probably.
So you have 4 drinks. Nothing intimate happened.
Nothing intimate happened. We hugged, I think, twice. That facial was throwing me off. It wasn't very sexy at the time.
That is weird.
That facial threw me.
And he had that on the whole time? He didn't?
The whole time we were talking.
I don't know anything about facials. I don't know if that's a long time to have one on or not.
But it depends.
It was dried. It was ready to come off.
Was it like a clay mask or like a peel-off?
It was a peel. And he was in this big terry cloth robe. And I was like, ooh, I like this robe, soft.
Did you have to, go knock on the door, or did he just come out when you...
I went knocked on the door. Saw him look through the peephole, and then, get back. It was a little bulldog. Get back. And then he came out, and we smoked some cigarettes.
He smoked, too?
Mm-hmm. He usually smokes Camel Blues, but I smoked Marlboro Light, so I think I was getting him, cigarette, Winnie, here you go.
Did he tell you a story about any other random girl stopping by?
That same day?
Mm-hmm.
No. He didn't even tell me that Yosh had been there earlier.
Right.
So I didn't,
Who's Yosh?
Josh.
Oh, Josh.
So I didn't even know he was there until I heard it from his wife.
From whose wife?
From Josh's wife. That he
married.
was there. Yeah. I don't know if they're married or just together forever, but whenever she called me and she was like, he was there. I was there. I know they're going to come talk to me. I've watched a lot of First 48. I know whoever's the last person that's been seen is always going to be talked to.
Right.
We saw him last.
Right.
And Josh and
gotcha.
I'm thinking, he was there, but I don't know who else was there or throughout the day or what he did or who he talked to.
Let me ask you something. Would it surprise you if I told you that there's a rumor out on the street that somebody tried to set your husband up to be robbed?
Would I believe that? I would believe that.
Did that happen?
I think what happened could have been a setup.
What happened?
The door got kicked in.
When was that?
When was that? I was at work. It was Sunday. Gosh, it's been maybe over a month. Yeah, it's been about over a month. Husband's at home, laying on the bed, and then the door kicks in, and they're like, freeze, motherfucker, and 2 shots went, and then my husband dove off of the bed and went into my closet, turned the lights off, closed the door. He didn't have anything to protect himself, so he closed himself off. And I was there, like, right after they were. The door was wide open. Nothing was touched, which I thought was very strange. So then I go looking around. I found one of their shell casings, and
How many shots? So they were shooting at y'all?
they shot like twice, but I don't even know. It was like there's something in the ceiling. I don't know if it was just a scare tactic or what, because no problem ever since.
Why didn't y'all call the police?
Well, I said to him, yeah, let's call the police. We've got a shell casing, right?
Mm-hmm.
He thinks that ever since that he's been in trouble in the past, that he's automatically judged. And it's happened. And so I didn't want to call behind his back and just file a report for something again. He's been shot at. The first situation was never resolved, and nothing ever came about of it. And then,
why do you think somebody would come to your house and do that?
From what I heard on the streets is that someone said we had all kinds of money on hand. And you can look in our bank statements and we're like 3 months behind on rent.
Right.
We don't have, that's when like, we don't have anything. We don't have anything. I don't know why these people would want to do something like that.
Who do you think did that?
I have no idea.
And your husband doesn't have any idea?
No. We have gone and talked and
do you think he would tell you?
Who, my husband? Good question.
And that's what I'm getting at. Like, as far as, like, trust goes with you guys, aside from the infidelity, I guess, that he doesn't trust you for, or, he's paranoid about, would he tell you if he was back in the game? And the reason I ask that is because, again, look at the people that he's got
around him.
I mean, he's not, you've been out of work, I don't know how much money he's bringing in, he's not getting disability, and randomly these people show up and shoot up your house, and he doesn't want to call the cops. If he's clean, did they go in the house looking around for anything? I mean, there's
I know.
It stinks.
It does.
It stinks.
It does. And, I went, whenever I got there initially, the door's open, the dogs are out, I walk around the house, there's plenty of things for them to grab, a phone, a TV, if it was a robbery.
Pills, pot, coke, cash.
None of that was there.
Would he have had a stash for them to take?
I know when he's on coke and pills and all of that, and he knows that I would be gone the minute I saw it, and so would our son. And I think that's what gets him the most is he wants to keep us the family, and I do too. Because I don't want my son in any kind of situation like that. And when that happened,
did he send you guys away?
We sent my mom and Ricky and our son to go get a hotel.
Who's Ricky?
Just my dad. Just to make sure in case they wanted to come back that night, or was it was supposed to, was it the right house? Like, I don't know. They didn't know his name, and then we have no idea. Whenever I asked him, he said the guy, there's like a hall, the bedroom. He said the guy, he knew he was black. He looked around, so he saw a brief facial, and then pointed a gun around and was like, boom, boom, and then my husband gets off the bed, turns off the lights, and then goes and, like, barricades himself in my closet, because it's all, like, blocked off.
He never fired back at him.
No.
So they made it all the way inside the house, all the way back to the bedroom? Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's like, when you come in the front door,
there's
door,
a little
like, hallway.
Where you went in, like in the
right.
court.
That's our front door right there. then there's a hallway, and then the corner to our bedrooms right there. So it wasn't 4 feet inside the house.
Okay.
And then that happened, and I don't know if maybe they had a stakeout car or someone watching to see who was coming down the road, because he said I was there with, like, in a minute.
After they were there.
Where were you at the time?
Coming home from work.
So it was dark.
Yeah, it was dark. It was like 10:30-ish.
Does John know about that
I don't know.
incident?
I don't know.
You don't know
I've never talked to him about it.
about Corbett and Josh? Did they know?
Corbett, I don't know. Josh knows. We told him about it, and but I don't really talk to Corbett much. He talks to the boys more.
What's your read on Josh? He's a guy with that's how somebody else described him.
He can be a little out of control with his drinking, and I don't know what his usage is or whatever or whatnot, but I think he's a good guy. I mean, I don't think that he would do anything, go as far as
hurting you.
Right. I mean, we were all looking out for him. That's why we're all the closest people to him, but it seems like there's a side that John didn't want us to know about. And then whenever it started coming to the surface, and the suicide, and then we're really seeing his usage, it, started calming down, as far as I knew, but I wasn't around him all the time.
Did you ever see the guy that he was buying from, the guy you said he looks like Kanye
West?
Have you ever laid eyes on him, or did you just see,
a picture?
You said his name's Isaiah, you think. And why do you say Isaiah?
That's what John told me.
Real quick, going back to when they bust in your house, so your husband's in the bedroom. Guy looks around the corner, sees your husband, shoots around the corner twice, a couple times, whatever. Your husband jumps up, runs to a closet, and they just leave?
I think they were out of ammunition.
2 rounds and they're out of ammunition?
I don't know if it was 2 or... I don't know how many it was. I wasn't there. I mean, looking at the trajectory, it's hard to say how many.
They didn't ransack your house? They didn't steal anything?
No. My husband says because my closet butts up to that hallway. He said he heard them picking up shell casings, and he thought there was something like a towel wiping because it's tile, like wiping their footprints. Then whenever I came in, it looked like someone had really walked around and made a bunch of scuff marks and everything. But I didn't know if that was just from him and my son throughout earlier the day, or, not cleaning
Where
up
was your
behind
son
himself.
and your mom and dad? Where were they when this happened?
They were actually, they had gone to the grocery store, and then they went and stayed in a hotel because they were going to go look at a house. So they were, out at a hotel.
That night?
That night. They were out. They had a hotel for 3 nights, actually. Already, paid for.
Already had a hotel before this incident happened?
Yeah.
Why?
It had been set up.
I mean, that to spend $60, $80, $100 a night for 3 nights on a hotel when you're trying to conserve money before this incident ever happened. Did they go out there because you guys anticipated that something was going to happen?
No.
Whose idea was it for them to get a room?
My mom's.
Your mom.
Yeah, because she wanted to be closer to where they were going to look at this place, and it was closer for her to take Chase to school. And so I could focus on work.
Where was this place you're looking at?
It's in Buford. But it's not, it's in the middle of, I guess it's in Oakity. So it was halfway to his work in the house and halfway
So what hotel did they stay at?
It was like middle of the road. Hampton Inn.
On 278?
By the ale house.
Which would be farther away from the location you just told us about.
No, wait. From what location?
Well, I guess it would be closer. Okay, it's not that far on 278.
Yeah.
It would be closer, okay.
It's kind of in the middle of the road from 170.
But so they already planned, and why do they need 3 days to look at this place they're going to stay?
There had been some issues with us going on, fighting in the house.
Okay.
My mom and my husband they're like oil and water when you get them together. And so it was also a little kind of separation to
And why did they
parties
take your son?
calm down. Because it was easier for her she usually handles him a lot, to take him to school and pick him up whenever I've got a crazy work schedule.
And how long was the plan for them to stay out there? How long was that?
Yeah.
How long?
How long?
When they first left, how long were they planning to stay at the hotel?
Yeah, like 2 nights, 3 nights.
So why a moment ago, when we asked if y'all left town after that incident occurred, did you say, well, we sent my mom and dad to a hotel for the night just in case they came back? And now you're telling us that actually, no, they went to the hotel ahead of time. They were already there.
Yeah, they were already at the hotel.
Well, I asked them, why did you tell us a minute ago that you actually sent them to the hotel in response to what happened?
Right, because if no one was there whenever it happened, so we wouldn't have sent it. They were already at the hotel.
Right, that's what I'm asking. A moment ago you said that y'all sent them to the hotel so they could stay there just in case people came back.
Yeah, I guess we added on another day. Maybe that's whenever that third day was added on, because I do remember Ricky having it in like through Priceline for those days, and then yeah, it could have been just to go ahead and just till we know it's clear, because that caused a lot of friction within the household and fights and what's going on, and that's why we're all trying to save money and get out of there. Because I don't feel safe there. I mean, I don't want
that. It troubles me to know that somebody comes into your house, kicks the door open, discharges a firearm where a family is housed, regardless of whether or not they were there or not, and you guys don't call the cops. Like, it makes no sense to me. Unless there's a reason why.
Well, I mean,
before you, what's your phone number real quick?
884.
I'll be right back. You can get something. Do you need anything?
No, it's been,
Okay.
it's been growling.
Okay.
Out here.
I'll be right back.
Haven't had lunch.
I guess I'm just confused. I'm hard with the timeline and thinking so far back, and there's so much that's happened.
There has been a lot that's happened, and you know, I know obviously you care about John as your friend, okay? And that is our focus, is him. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it and tell you that, you know, I believe everything you're telling me, because I don't. I mean, there's too much going on around you guys for it to be as innocent as it is. All right? And obviously, I think by the look on your face, you probably know that there's
upset, like.
Sure. I mean, whether you're concealing a relationship, whether your husband is back in the game, whether he was on a bender, why the cops were, I mean, all of these questions, they're unanswered, and the responses that you're giving us don't make any sense. You know, I wouldn't be pressing you for those answers if I thought you were being honest with me. You know,
okay.
It's like we're talking in circles with each other. And I don't care about that stuff, and what you tell me isn't, I'm not going to say, hey, husband, she did this, or it just, I get the needing to air your hair. I'm a woman. I'm a single mom, and there are days that I love my child more than anything, and there are days I'm like, I wish she would stay with her dad so I could be exactly. I mean, I get it. I get that need for it. And that I don't doubt. I don't doubt that that's what you were doing. The thing that I'm really having a hard time with is the incident at your house, your husband's involvement with these other guys. I mean, you guys may have been down here a short time. Some of these folks have been here for a long time. So we kind of know, like, it just, I don't know. And you're either going to somewhere deep down inside choose to tell me the truth, or you're not.
Well, I have been telling you the truth. I have been telling you the truth. And as far as people that have been here longer, I mean, I don't know. That would be like hearsay or just the word on the street.
Well, let me put it to you this way. If 2 people or 3 people or 4 people show up at your house to rob you or to do whatever they were going to do, okay, your husband was lucky enough to survive, okay? How do we know these people didn't go to John's house to do the same thing? You see what I'm saying? That's why I'm looking for that information.
Yeah.
Whatever is there, we need to know so that we can look at it and say, okay, are there similarities in this versus this? You're good friends with John, your husband, Josh, all of these guys. I mean, technically could be susceptible to the same thing.
Yeah. You're right. I didn't think about those same guys going back over there and doing that. I mean, he owed people money. They could have very well been the same people. But it was like word on the street. No one knew who it was, and no one wanted to come up and say they knew anything.
Right.
And then the only thing we got was ghosty boys. It's the ghosty boys.
And who told you that?
Word on the street. Again, whether, John mentioned it, Corbett mentioned it, Josh mentioned it. It's just like, who else would be so cold-blooded?
But why would they pick y'all? I mean, it's not like...
From what I hear on that one is that someone went and told them that we were sitting on all kinds of money and this and that. And that's, why I was so confused. I'm like, we don't have any money. Why would you just go off of what they're saying and not have any proof?
Do you think that John could have been the one that set you guys up?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that he would do that.
He owes people money. They want to collect.
Who has the money? He might think we have the money.
I mean, does that make sense to you?
I'm wrapping my head around that. That does make sense. I just didn't think he was in that deep. Really didn't think that. But I guess people will do anything over $20 even. But I didn't think that any of this would come down to it over what did anyone get out of it?
Right.
You're not getting their money, whoever.
Do you think your husband would talk to us?
Yeah, I think he would talk to you, sure.
How do we approach him without putting you out there as far as being at John's house? And the only reason I ask that is because I don't want to cause any more problems with you guys. When does the last time he think you talked to John was?
The last time him and I saw him together,
Which was
before the
wreck.
Yeah.
What time did you get home from work?
Usually around like evening 5:36.
What time is it? It's like 4:15.
I mean, I know that he wouldn't want to not give the information, anything up, if he knew anything, because, I mean, we were both just looking and reading articles about it, like, oh, they don't know anything.
Did you tell him that you were there? Did he know that you were there? He still doesn't know that you were there.
I mean, but I don't know. In this kind of situation, I think it trumps an argument, with him. It's not like I'm going to be going over there again.
Right.
Unfortunately.
You good? You need to go to the bathroom or anything?
I'm just like, I can't believe that happened. I really can't. For someone to do that in just the manner it was done.
Do you know Joe at all?
Joe.
Rubio? The guy that works at our bar?
Name sounds similar, but I'm thinking of someone else. That was Coco Rubio. That was Augusta.
Who's from Augusta? Are you guys from there originally?
Mm-hmm. We all are. My dad, husband, all of us.
Step out real quick.
You got one? Okay. What's going on right now?
Just heavy stuff.
Okay.
Emotionally, it's I've never been to where I just saw him, and that's the last hug I know I'm ever going to give him. I don't know. I'm not good with death, and especially like murder. I've never known anything like this before.
Okay. How did you know that? Because you said a couple times already that you were the last person to see him alive. What made you think that? Like why? How did you know that?
Well, I knew I was one of the last people at his house. I didn't know if there was anyone else that had come after me or who was there with them. But, I knew that I was there that night.
Right. What, just now when we left, what were you saying to yourself?
I was saying, why did you get hemmed up in this shit? Why did you have to get hemmed up in this shit?
What shit is that? It seems
just all of the, whoever
more than yourself.
He owes money to, all of the addiction issues, the lawsuit with the shipping cow woman, the counterfeit money. I mean, it's just...
What it sounded like to us that you were saying to yourself is, why did you do that to him?
Why did I do that?
No, not you. You were saying, why did you do that to him? You're asking, why did you do that to him?
No.
That you have, I mean, said that you were at his house, and then you said you drove back past his house. What time do you think that was when you drove back past his house?
Probably like, paying attention, really. I was there like 11:30, maybe like 11:30, 11:45. And then I was home and passed out within like minutes once I got home. I was asleep.
Well, there's actually, in Pinecrest there's a security camera. When people leave, it records everybody leaves. So you actually left out of there the second time, like when you came back through the second time. Your car was there with you in it, plain as day, right before and right at the time that it happened. Okay. So we've got all that on video. Okay. And we're trying to figure out where the connection is there. Okay. And as upset as you are about it, and you're refusing to believe that your husband is involved in drugs anymore, that your husband's involved in any of that stuff, and yet you have people kicking in the door, shooting enough bullets to where they're picking up shells and still leaving some behind. And that's just a random thing that happened. It really doesn't have anything to do with anything. And you think that it sounds like somebody set your husband up for that, set y'all's house up to get hit. But you don't think any of this has to do with drugs or any of that. And then there's no connection between, it sounds like y'all had a pretty tight-knit group there. So what are you not telling us here? Because we know that there is a good bit more. Because there's a lot that, that we know that we haven't told you yet, but there's obviously a lot that you know that you haven't told us.
I mean, I'm like rattling my brain at what it could be. I'm not quite sure what I know that I don't know exactly what I know to tell. I mean,
were you by yourself the other night when you were in Pinecrest?
Yes.
The first time. What about the second time?
Yes.
Nobody in the car.
I never went anywhere else. It was just me. I didn't stop, pick anybody up, nothing.
You didn't meet anybody. And when you're answering all these questions, keep in mind Pinecrest does have a lot of security cameras, more than people realize. And his house is at the pool, and the pool's got all kinds of security cameras on it as well.
Oh, I know. I mean, there's cameras everywhere.
So you
I
weren't
know
with
that.
anybody. You didn't meet anybody. You didn't talk to anybody. You didn't call anybody at all during that time you were running around drinking wine in the car.
Not that, no. I definitely didn't have anyone in my car. I had my work clothes in there, my purse,
but did you meet up with anybody? Did you call anybody?
Call anybody? No. Call anybody? If I did, I really can't remember after all the alcohol.
You think your husband was involved?
I don't think he was involved.
You don't think, or?
I know he wasn't. He was at the house all night.
How do you know that?
My mom was there. The child was there. They were all there. Whenever I got home, everyone was asleep.
Do you realize that your car was about 40 yards from his house when he was shot?
No. I did not know that. It was my car.
No, it's your car.
It's your car. We can see you in it. Who can vouch that your husband was at the house? Everybody was asleep when you got home.
My mom was there watching them go to bed. I can't remember if Ricky was off that night, my dad, or what.
But they were all asleep.
Well, he goes in spurts. He's a back. He could have been asleep, wake, sleep, wake. Now I feel like this is turning into, do I need to get a lawyer?
Well, I mean, you're not in any trouble.
I feel like my words are being twisted around, though.
It's not that your words are being twisted around, but it's, again, going back to that thing with the hotel. I mean, your initial story is that they went to the hotel because of the home invasion. Your other story then becomes, well, no, they were already at the hotel, and maybe we had an extra day because of the home invasion.
Yeah, I can't remember everything verbatim with what's been happening. I mean, I've got other stuff going on just besides remembering a timeline. I don't know. I've got other things going on that I didn't think that was, I don't know. I didn't think that there was going to be anything to come with that. I thought it was like over. I didn't know if it was a random act. I didn't know if someone was involved with it. No one seemed to know anything about it on the streets and whatever.
Nobody had any idea who set it up.
Not that they want to claim.
Because from what we've heard, your husband knows who set it up.
Oh, he does not know who set it up. Neither one of us know who set it up.
So your husband has no idea who set that up for his house to get kicked in. And these guys turn in, shoot around, he hides in the closet, and they just leave.
We actually, when that happened, we went and stayed at a friend's house just to collect our thoughts and talk about who and why. And never a definitive answer on who or why.
Let me ask you a question. Did your husband shoot back at those guys?
No.
No.
We don't have guns in the house.
Why do you think they would just leave?
I think they got scared because I was coming down the road. And who's to say if that wasn't a policeman who heard gunfire?
Did you pass them on your way in?
No, I didn't pass. And what I did is, I'd turn on my brights. It's so dark. Going down the road, they could have crossed over to the neighbor lady's driveway and gone out a completely separate way. They could have crossed over the other road and went out a completely separate way. There's a lot of land right there. Anyone could have been parked there, sitting there, hiding there. I don't know. I don't know.
How is it that you got the information from the street, as you said, but that someone sailed up by saying there was a lot of money in the house, but nobody had any guesses as to who set it up?
I don't know who would tell someone that we had money in the house. To be honest, I mean, we're not walking around flaunting money. I've been working like crazy. It's bizarre to me that anyone would think that we would have money. It's not flowing. So we can't pay the phone bill or rent right now. I mean, we were almost on the verge of eviction. And that's been taking a lot of stress on me as well.
So that happened on a Sunday about a month ago, you said?
I know it was on a Sunday.
How soon after that was John's whole suicidal episode?
Like a month?
A month after that?
Yeah.
said that happened a month ago. So.
Yeah. I mean.
But John wasn't suicidal just recently. So you're saying
that's not what I heard. I heard that he had police officers.
It was like several weeks ago, right?
Right.
So a month ago, the end of September is where the Interrogation comes out. So the end of September is when your door gets kicked in, right?
I can't verify dates. All I know is it's on a Sunday.
We'll say it's a Sunday. It's roughly a month ago. So we'll just call it the end of September because we're at the end of October right now.
Okay.
All right. So then, for when John was suicidal, they said it was a few weeks ago. So it's going to be shortly after that, after your door gets kicked in.
I mean, he was suicidal when the restaurant was going down.
I'm talking about the one where
separate instances.
But this most recent one where the cops just show up at the residence and everything because people were calling saying he's going to kill himself, and he was talking about issues and everything. So that happens just a little bit after your door gets kicked in. Okay. So and this all happens right after the restaurant has to shut down. So, from what we've been told, is that your husband found out that John set him up because John was hard up for money, and John thought there was money hidden in the house.
But we never thought John was hard up for money. He always had money.
Well, I'm not saying y'all thought John was hard up for money, but I'm saying that John was hard up for money, and your husband was under the impression that John set up the hit on y'all's house.
Well,
because wasn't John over there just a little bit prior to them all coming in?
Yeah, they were all hanging out.
And then they leave. And how did you know about that? About them being over there?
I was there. Right before I went to work. I said bye to John and Sam, and then I went to work.
About what time did you leave for work?
I'm not to be there that day. I can't remember what time. I always leave an hour beforehand, so it was maybe 2 or 3 I left.
Do you remember what day that was? Was it a weekday or a weekend?
It was a Sunday. Yeah, it was a Sunday.
So the restaurant shuts down. John still has debt from Jack's, from when he had the Jack's restaurant there, because he has like $36,000 worth of debt that he owes for that restaurant.
I know that.
Right. I'm sure you didn't. There's no reason why you would. Shipping Cow shuts down. And now he's hard up. He's got even more money tied up because of that.
And he's an addict.
And he's an addict, so he's, as you said, he's spending $100, hundreds of dollars a day on pills. He gets some of his stuff from this one drug dealer, but maybe he gets other stuff from other drug dealers because he's buying from the same people all the time or borrowing from the same people all the time. They're not going to keep giving him stuff. He's racking up debt there, and for some reason, John's under the impression that y'all probably have money stashed away.
For some reason, because your husband's clean and he's not selling.
But in fact, we know that your husband's one of the people that John would buy from when he would need it, especially if he needed a little bit of weed or something like that, and maybe a few pills. So John believes that y'all have money in the house. He's over at the house that night. We know that he was acting, by your husband's orders, acting suspicious that night. He leaves, and shortly after he leaves, the door gets kicked in. We're talking like maybe 15 minutes, 10 minutes.
Really?
After he leaves, the door gets kicked in.
I knew it was that close.
And then these guys come in, start shooting, but for some reason they just start shooting. They don't steal anything. They don't wreck the place. What in fact happened was your husband shot back and scared them off. They take off. And besides the fact that your husband can ask around and probably figure it out, he knows that John was there just moments before all this happens. Okay? So John obviously set him up. He confronts John about it, and John, for whatever reason, is completely honest. Like, yeah, man, my bad, basically, because we have John's phone records and John's texts. He's like, my bad. I apologize. You should probably go after those guys, not after me, because they're the ones that actually did it. I'm just in a bad spot. All right. And then we've got other texts from John where he's talking about what he did with other people. That everything went bad, and now he has no money because the thing that he was trying to do didn't work out.
What do you
Which was at the very beginning of October, which is right after this happened at your house.
Get the money from us, is what you're saying, that didn't work out?
Because he was going to get a cut of it. Whatever they found. So we know all that. Okay? And we know that your husband knew. And from the sounds of it, you and your husband talk a lot. Y'all share a lot.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that your husband has guns, too.
I didn't know that he had text messages verifying any of that. I didn't know that. No. Or the guns, or this little buying pills here and there. I mean, I didn't know about any of that. I don't know if he's, oh my God. If he is doing that.
Does he own a long rifle?
No.
Never seen him with a camouflage weapon?
No.
Your dad's seen him with weapons.
Yeah, he has a older rifle. That's at his dad's house in Augusta.
Not down here.
Not down here. No.
Has your dad been to John's dad's house?
No.
So how would he have seen him with that rifle? He wouldn't have. Your dad has seen John with weapons.
My dad has seen John with weapons.
Well, I'm sorry, I've seen your husband with weapons. I apologize.
Okay.
Yeah. Your dad has seen your husband, Sam.
With
right?
weapons.
With weapons.
Yes. At our house.
Well, he's seen him with weapons.
Okay.
So, I assume it's at, I don't know, does your dad and Sam hang out a lot other than at your house?
Not that I know of.
Probably than at your house, yeah.
Yeah.
Would you ever let anybody else use your car?
I have. Before.
Like who?
My husband. My mom. Ricky. I mean.
But you're the primary driver.
I am the primary driver.
When do you think the last time somebody else used your car was?
Oh, it's been a while. Yeah.
And
I know my husband and Josh were hanging out, but this was maybe last week sometime. And Josh was actually drunk, and so he went and picked him up at the bar or something and took him home. But that was, he went straight there and came home. I was watching the clock on that one. As you can tell, whenever he makes little stops or wants to do something else, go there, come straight back. Okay.
Mm-hmm. When you say make stops or do something else, what do you mean by that?
Like maybe stop to get something to eat, or stop in a friend's house, or just stop. It's just kind of an ongoing thing with him. He'll be like, oh, well, I just ran into so and so, got their card, gave them my card, or got their new number, gave them my new number. He goes through meeting people all the time with that kind of job.
You want to smoke a cigarette? I have a place where she can smoke. She can't obviously smoke in here, but maybe, I don't know. the Sally Port
We
or
can,
somewhere?
yeah, well, right, yeah. I suppose the two of us can walk right outside.
Yeah. I'll be right back. Just give me a second.
So what's next? I mean, am I writing a statement?
Yeah, we'll get you to write a statement soon.
I've never had to deal, I don't know what.
My main thing right now is when we asked if you thought your husband could have done this, the normal response to something like that is, oh, no, absolutely not, definitely not. Your response is, I don't think so. And that is not it's not something that comes from somebody who's convinced of a person's innocence. And we know that your husband and John, not on a constant basis, but have had their problems. We know that your husband, on at least one occasion, has hurt John for one reason or the other.
Hurt.
Like physically. Beat him up, roughed him up a little bit. Nothing serious to put him in the hospital, but he's roughed him up. Now, that to me is the action more of a dealer towards the person that's buying from him than two guys that are primarily friends. Now, we know that they were friends as well. We know that John would come over and play Xbox or whatever, like you said. But we also know that it wasn't a completely friendly relationship, that your husband had problems with him, that your husband had gotten angry with him before, and roughed him up a little bit. And we also know that you're aware of most of that. Okay? So, I mean, if you can elaborate a little bit on that, instead of telling us it never happened, we appreciate that.
Telling you what never happened.
Well, because you're saying that John's never been physically assaulted by your husband at all, but we know that did happen.
I know that if that were any kind of thing, that was made up. He hasn't been assaulted.
Your husband never roughed him up at all?
Not that I know of, and I mean...
Why are close friends, like people that are friends with both of them, telling us all these different things?
I know he didn't rough him up. I didn't see him rough him up. I wasn't there, but I have heard of him maybe verbally assault him, but not to where he would put his hands on him or hurt him, literally.
Well, what was that about?
I think that happened at Josh's house over... who was there? Josh, John, Talk, and some of Talk's black friends.
And so, what did you hear about that? Like, what was the context of that situation?
I just heard that they got into a little argument, and Sam was like, "What's up, John? You know, I haven't heard from you in a while." And then John kind of gave him some attitude, and then he gave him some attitude back. That was all I heard.
What was John giving him attitude?
Hey, how you doing? Miss
Hi.
Colette, is it?
Yes.
How you doing? I'm Lieutenant Matt with the Buffalo Police Department. I
Nice
work
to
with
meet you.
Detective Odom. You feel like taking a break and going out for a smoke or something? I know you've been in here for a while.
Yeah.
You want to go out for a smoke?
Here,
come on, I'll come join you.
I got that.
Sure?
Yeah. You don't want both of them?
Yeah. Well, that one's trash.
You still got both of those? You thirsty?
Well, I had this right here when I woke up.
All right, Colette. Sorry about that.
Real quick before we get started,
Like I said, I've been listening all along, trying to get an idea of what's going on here. Whenever something like this happens in our town, doesn't happen very often. So we always stick most of our investigators on a case and what have you. I'm in charge of the investigations division. The people you've met work for us or help us out. Angela helps us out. So it's kind of like an all hands on deck where everybody's kind of helping out. So that's probably why you see people coming and going and all kinds of crazy stuff. Before I just have to ask you a few things and kind of some things some further questions I have from the interview I watched that you were doing earlier. Further, what's your phone number, Colette? Do you have a phone number, cell phone, or anything like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I gave them my phone number. It's 540.
All right. Take me back to Tuesday night, or Tuesday during the day. Do you kind of take me through your day on Tuesday? Hold on one second. Take me through Tuesday through your day, starting from, I don't know, when do you first make contact with John? Do you make contact with him during the day at all or anything? Or
No.
do you call him or anything?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
My phone has actually been turned off because I paid the bill.
Oh, so you don't have any phone?
So whenever I need to get, I really need to contact with my job and with the school. So my mom, they have her on file, and she's able to pick them up and everything. Same with my dad, and so they know that they can get a hold of me through him.
Okay.
If I need to come in early or whatever or whatnot.
Okay, so this number you gave me shut off.
Yeah.
So if I had to contact you again, what would be a good number to contact you at?
Oh, probably my mom's number.
What's that one?
70. And then my dad, Ricky, his is 91.
And what's your husband's name? Is it
Sam.
Sam. Does Sam have a cell phone?
It's on the same contract as mine.
That was shut off, of course, right?
Yeah.
So how do you guys get around?
Well, it just happened within the last couple of days, so we're just waiting. I get paid on Friday, so we can pay that minimum. So we can get it
what is
turned
Sam's
back
cell
on.
phone in case I can't get in touch with you and you guys get your cell phone turned back on?
Yeah, it's 840.
I appreciate that. And that's Sam?
Mm-hmm.
Sam's your husband's name?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, what time do you go to work on Tuesday?
It varies. I think Tuesday, sometimes I go in at 2, 3,
okay,
4.
I'm sorry. This particular Tuesday
I'm trying to think.
This past Tuesday.
I think it was 2.
2 o'clock?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then is there like a set amount of hours you work every night, or what time did you get off?
It goes really based on what the members, we have member dinners. Mm-hmm. So they'll have a reservation for 4 or 5 or whatever, but it's a set meal. So they don't order off of a menu. We just serve them. They drink alcohol. It's in a fine dining atmosphere, so, linens and everything.
Sure.
Once they are done, dishes, we have to wash our own dishes.
You do?
Yeah. We have to wash our own dishes, put them all back.
So what time was it that you think you got off?
Probably about 9:30.
9:30.
10.
Okay. And you're heading home from Secessions. How long does it usually take you to get home?
About 45 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a pretty good drive, isn't
it?
That's up in Beaufort, right? Yeah.
Closer to it's past Port Royal, Ladies Island.
That's right. I've only been there once, and that was back in the summer.
Yeah.
Okay, so you come back. I guess you drive down Buckwalter. Is that what you said earlier?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What made you go over to John's house?
Well, I was already thinking about him, and then I just saw the Pine Crest sign, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a little detour, because else I would go all the way down Buckwalter and turn left on 46 to go home, because we're right down there on the right. So, and I hadn't seen him since he got the DUI and everything, and I just went over there, knocked on the door, and he
How many
came.
times you been over to his house?
Like twice.
Twice. And how'd you know how to get over there?
He told me where it was, and, we were talking about, because
on this particular day he told you?
No, a while back. He
Okay.
told me where he lived, because we were talking about that neighborhood, and he knows I'm looking for another place, and so he was like, there's
So at this point, you
there.
know where he lives. You don't need directions or anything like that.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So you get there. Remember what time you got there?
Maybe around 10-ish, or wait, 10:45.
Okay.
And once drive time.
And you were there for about,
say, maybe an hour.
Did you ever go inside his house?
No.
Never went inside?
No. Never been inside his house.
Never ever?
Never ever.
Oh, okay. All right. Did you guys ever go into the back at all?
No.
Backyard?
No. I parked in the driveway, and we stayed leaning up against my car, smoked some cigarettes, talked, hugged, and...
What was the conversation like with you two? Did he seem any different than he normally is or anything like that?
He actually seemed a little more headstrong, like he was coming out of his funk and maybe coming out of his...
Yeah, because he was in a funk. I was actually one of the guys who responded down when his parents thought that he was going to commit suicide. And he really seemed in a funk then.
Yeah.
So what was, what was your conversations like? What were you guys talking, was he talking about anybody or anything like that?
No, we were just talking about the restaurant and, how we were talking like, he knows I'm at Secession. He wanted to know if they'd be interested in getting any of the alcohol, and we talked about, his state of mind. Is he okay?
And did he say he was okay?
He did, but
it's
hard to tell if he really was. He was in a robe and in a mask, so that to me means that he's actually wanting to take care of himself. A mask being a facial mask.
He was wearing a facial mask?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was wearing a facial mask.
Okay.
He's a pretty boy.
Hey, I guess so.
You gotta keep that up.
I guess so.
So, like I was telling them, I had some drinks whenever I got off work.
Where'd you get the drinks from?
At work, after I clocked out.
Did you take a bottle with you?
No.
Oh, so you drank there?
Drink there.
Okay, so I thought you said you were drinking wine in the car.
I did stop and get some wine.
Where did you stop to get wine at?
At Parker's.
Parker's where?
The Buckwalter.
Okay.
Buckwalter.
And that was before you went over to John's house?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. And what you get? You got a bottle of wine over there or something? I didn't know they sold wine over there.
Yeah.
They do?
They do.
Is it any good?
It's a barefoot. It's not that bad.
Not much
cheap,
wine
but yeah.
That's the best wine for me. Okay, so you're there for a while. You leave. Where do you go after that?
Well, my husband's been sober for over a year as of September.
Well,
congratulations. And I know, and that was a big feat. So I don't like bringing it around him. He doesn't mind if I drink, but I really don't like bringing it around him. And he didn't know what time I got off work because I couldn't.
How long has your husband been sober?
Over a year as of November.
This is drugs and alcohol?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He went to meetings. And
okay, tell me about this time when it was a few weeks ago that you and your family left for 4 days and he went on a coke binge.
I didn't leave to go anywhere. My family did.
Okay.
But
if he had a lapse, that I understand.
Yeah.
But
he did.
But just be truthful with me. Okay.
Yeah. Well, mainly the alcohol.
So he did have a lapse.
He did have a lapse in coke, and that that majorly depressed him, and he had been going through that years before. He had an issue with it, and I got him off of that. I said, I'm not going to be around.
Did you catch him?
Continue.
Did you catch him in this 4-day hiatus thing that he was involved with?
I did.
And what was your reaction to that? I mean, you seem like a very caring woman, very, somebody who cares about who they love and everything like that. That would have hit me hard to see somebody who I care about, who I think is doing well, suddenly just have a laugh like that. I mean, what was your reaction to that?
Oh, I got all of it out. It was gone. I just was like, you can't have this around you. We don't need any kind of triggers for you.
Sure,
so
exactly.
I got it out. And at the same time, I'm having to work and a weird schedule, so I can't be there
all the time.
Right. And so all of our experiences, and we've known each other for 13 years now.
Well,
I know when, he could just do one line and I can see it. And whenever I saw it, I was like, you can't lie to me.
How does that make him act? Does it make him act aggressive? Does it make him act relaxed?
It's kind of a up and down thing.
Yeah.
1 minute he's happy, 1 minute he's sad and depressed.
Like a bunch of mood swings and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Let me ask you something, and this doesn't leave the room. Has he ever abused you? Has he ever hit you when he's on coke or anything like that? Nothing like that?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay, so, and I just had to ask that because I know you said you drank in your car and he's been sober for a year, but
I didn't want him to know that I was drinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, does he know you drink? Are you trying to portray to him that you're being sober as well?
He knows that I do, but I don't want to bring it around him and cause a trigger or a fight.
Okay. All right. Now, you live with your parents? Okay. And do your parents know John at all?
They've met him.
They met him?
They've met him
are they
by coming over there, by John coming over there.
Sure. Are they acquainted? Do they get along with him when he's at the house? Because from my understanding earlier, John comes over to the house a pretty good amount of time, I assume. Right? Would you say more than 5 times he's come over to the house? Okay. And your parents have been there while he's there?
Yeah, most of the time.
Okay.
Like my
and
mom.
They've never had any issues or anything like that?
None whatsoever.
Okay. They get along fairly well?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you something. How come you didn't tell your parents that John was dead?
I was in shock, and I didn't find out till last night that literally I've only been up for an hour when everybody came. And
what do you mean you're only up for an hour when everybody came?
I had only been up for an hour, and then all the police show up, so I hadn't even had time to have any conversation. Ricky, my dad, he was asleep because he works the late shift. He doesn't get off till 2 a.m. So then he sleeps. So he was asleep, and then I get on the phone on WTOC, and then I see it.
When did you find out that he died? When did you find out that John died?
Last night about, I closed again. I got home probably 10-ish, and then looked it up. My son's in the bed, my mom's in the bed, and Sam and I talked about it, and we're just like, what in the hell? What's going on? Who would do this?
Night.
Yeah. And then I went to bed, and then got up at like 1 o'clock because I usually get ready at 2, and then that took me an hour to get ready at 2, and then I leave at 3, an hour to drive, and I was supposed to be on the schedule at 4.
Okay. Now let's go back to after you leave John's house on the night of the murder. You leave John's house. Where do you go?
I just went riding around drinking the wine.
Riding around drinking the wine. Do you remember where you went, though?
Not like insane mind. No. Because, the alcohol, and I know I shouldn't have been drinking and driving, and I know that. And
I'm not going to arrest you for DUI, I promise.
And, yeah, you're homicide. So it was just kind of staying close to the house. Like, it went through the farm and rode around.
Do you know anybody that lives in the farm?
I know a couple people.
Did you stop by their houses or anything?
No.
No.
No, I didn't stop or talk to anybody. I was just kind of wanting to get that little wine buzz.
Sure. How long do you think you were driving around for?
See, that's the thing. I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know how long. I know it was more than 30 minutes.
Okay.
Probably
At any point in your travels, did you ever pull off to the side of the road anywhere?
I do remember maybe stopping. Where did I stop? I stopped. I couldn't find my cigarettes. It had fallen under my seat, but I don't know where that was. To go searching for them, you fall right down in there, so you gotta move the seat back and go all the way under.
Okay, so you dropped your cigarettes. Did you open the door to see if you dropped your cigarettes or anything like that, or to get a better look, to get the light on so that you could see where your cigarettes are?
No, I don't think I.
No. Okay.
The big screen that I have in the car for the radio and everything is very bright.
Okay.
So once I moved my seat, they were there.
Okay. And you don't remember where it was at that you stopped, that you pulled off the side of the road?
So dark.
Okay. Do you know, was it on the grass? Was it on the breakdown lane somewhere? Was it?
It was just kind of right off the side of a paved road, maybe partial grass.
Okay. Was it
just kind of get out of the way in case.
Sure. Was it flat land? Was it a little hilly?
It was flat.
Just flat.
Pretty sure.
Okay, I'm just trying to get an idea as to where you drove. I mean, because I don't.
Yeah.
Okay, where else?
And I know if I hadn't had any of that alcohol, I would be able to remember it, but that was impairing, and it's trying to piece it together now. It's
Sure. Do you think you have a drinking problem?
I know I have gone through some major issues with it. Yes.
I mean, I think if you're driving around and you're drinking, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And not just between you and I. I mean, there's ways to get help. I'm not here to judge you for that. But if it's to the point where you black out and you don't even know where you're at,
yeah.
I mean, that can become a problem.
Yeah.
Okay. So after you go drive through the farm, you remember where you go to next?
No. I think after that I started heading towards my house.
Towards your house?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you ever go back into Pinecrest after you go over to the farm?
I don't remember.
You don't remember, or?
I don't remember. I remember going over the little hump light. I really don't remember which way.
Okay. When you left work, did you change clothes at all, or did you stay in the same clothes?
Stayed in the same clothes.
Okay.
All I did was I usually wear an undershirt. These are the pants I wear.
Okay.
And then my button down is black button down with tuck in, wear an apron. I keep them hanging in the back on a hanger.
Do you keep other clothes in your car? Are there clothes in your car?
There's just my work.
Just random clothes thrown in the car?
Clothes, maybe my son's hoodie.
Okay. All right. Here's something I got to ask you. What if I were to tell you that we did find some clothing near the scene of where Jonathan was killed, and we seized that clothing, and we're submitting it for DNA?
Okay.
Would there be any reason why that DNA would come back to you?
No.
So there's no reason at all that this clothing would come back to you. I just want to make sure, because if it does, then that tells me that right now you're lying, you're not being truthful with me.
Yeah, I don't know why there would be any of my clothing anywhere around there.
Okay.
Because it's all, whenever I looked in my car today, it was all there.
Okay.
All my stuff is there.
Okay, I'm just double checking, because if it does come back, then that's going to start raising questions. I think you've been truthful with me so far. Okay, but if that comes back and it's yours, then I'm going to start doubting some of the things you're telling me.
I understand.
Okay, I'm sure you understand. Okay. How did you feel when you heard that Jonathan was killed or died? I mean, how
I started crying.
yeah.
I mean, I was in shock.
Mm-hmm.
I was not wanting to believe it at all. I thought that maybe it was a mistake, you get the wrong person. But whenever that picture came up on that app and his name, it sunk in how real it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how'd your husband feel about it?
We were both upset. I mean, why would this happen to someone so young?
Mm-hmm.
Over what? You know, what is? That's what I don't understand.
Well, that's what we're trying to figure out.
Why would someone?
Why do you think somebody would do that?
Honestly, if he got into the wrong crowd of people and he had a drug problem,
right.
I don't know how that goes down with it or who he owed money to. That's the only thing I can think of. Because he wasn't a bad guy. He was awesome. I mean, he was always good to us, you know, whenever he was good to my son.
Good to you to the point where he sets up an armed robbery at your house?
See, that's what I don't understand, if that was him. No one told me that he admitted to something like that.
Yeah, he did.
Because I for sure wouldn't have gone over there and been,
right.
you know, like, what's going on? And then he
your husband never told
pulling the wool over my eyes.
Your husband never told you about a conversation you had with him over the phone?
No.
Never told you about, talking with John and John said that he set this whole thing up and your husband knew about it?
No.
Nothing.
Mm-mm.
And you and your husband are pretty close?
Yeah. We are close. And that's what's baffling to me, because I know if that conversation, because we were rattling our brains why and who would do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we didn't know if it had something to do with the past shooting where he got shot at, because when he was being helicoptered in the ambulance, they were screaming his name and address and everything at him. So we're like, is that related? They know where we live, but
Sure.
never thought that John would be behind. That doesn't seem like it was in his character.
Okay. Your husband with guns. You ever seen him with guns?
Way back in the day.
Okay. What kind of guns?
We used to have. He had a rifle, like a hunting rifle.
Okay.
But when he got into trouble, we took that to his dad's house to hold on to it.
Okay. Now, did you know that your dad has said that he's seen him with guns in the house?
No, and I don't even know where these said guns are.
Okay. You've never seen a gun in your house?
Mm-mm. We had a little pellet gun. I know that one looks like a...
No, I don't. Okay. There was some evidence found at the scene, and it's actually things that were inside the gun. You know, every time you shoot a gun, things come out, things get ejected, and we found two of those things that were ejected. And everybody who puts guns together, everybody who puts ammo inside guns, they always touch it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's DNA. Okay. I'm going to ask you, is there any reason that this DNA is going to come back to your husband?
Not that.
Or to somebody that you know? Because I'm telling you, if you were just driving around and somebody was with you and they just told you to stop and you didn't know what was going on, then you need to let us know now. Okay? Because if you don't, then it makes it look like that you have something to do with this.
Right.
Okay? And I don't want you to think that. Okay? I don't want you to feel like that. If you had no idea what was going to happen, if you had no idea that this was going to get out of hand, then you need to let us know. Okay? If you're trying to protect somebody, right now you got to take care of yourself. Okay, you need to protect yourself. But you got to tell me everything. You got to tell me what's going on.
I feel like I'm left out of the loop. Like,
you left out of the loop of what?
Yeah,
and,
I mean,
I
keep hearing this stuff, but
maybe they did leave you out of the loop, and you didn't know what was going on. Somebody just asked you for a ride over there, and you didn't know what happened.
But really, I mean, I didn't get anybody. I didn't pick up anybody. I didn't do anything with anybody. I mean,
So there was nobody else in your car that night?
No.
Even though our video shows that there's somebody else in the passenger seat.
I mean, I don't know if there was my clothes. I'm not sure who would have
What do you mean your clothes?
My work clothes hanging in there. I mean, that's
No, this was clearly a person with a face.
I know it shouldn't be him. I know it wouldn't be him.
Then who was it? Who was in your car? I'm not saying that they shot at anybody, but there was somebody in your car. If you were just giving somebody a ride somewhere, you gotta let us know. If it's somebody other than your husband, I'm not gonna go back and tell your husband, hey, guess what? She has somebody else in the car with her. You know, that's not what I do. Okay, that's not for me to do. Okay, so if you have somebody else in the car, let me know. Who else was in the car with you?
I don't recall anyone being in the car. I really don't. Like, I am rattling my brain as to trying to piece even where I drove, and I can't think of everything.
Okay, so if you're saying there's nobody in your car, you won't have a problem if we search your car?
Why would you need to search the car?
So that we can try to get DNA from the passenger seat of the person that was in your car.
But wouldn't that bring up all kinds of people that were in my car?
Not if you haven't had somebody in there over the past week, have you?
I mean, gosh, now I don't even know who. I give people rides. I've definitely had, my husband's driven the car. He's had people in the car.
Okay.
I don't know about that one.
We could eliminate them. Okay, the people you identify in the car, we can eliminate them from being in your car. If I think there's somebody else in your car that you're just not sharing with me.
Maybe now is the time for me to go ahead and get my lawyer, because I feel like
I'm asking a simple question.
I'm confused as to what is going on, and I understand why I'm here, but I don't know why I would be put as a suspect.
Well, because your car was within 10 feet at the same time of a homicide.
Well, you say 10 feet.
Well, within 10 yards. 10 yards of his house. Okay, because there's one point when you did drive by. And shortly thereafter is when this happened. Do you think that that's a coincidence?
Yeah, it could be a coincidence.
It could
Who knows
be.
what?
It could be, but you also weren't truthful with us when we asked you about the home invasion. You weren't truthful with us with your husband with guns.
Well, I don't think that's relevant to this homicide.
Well, why wouldn't it be? See, our job is to not only find the person that did this, but it's also to get rid of or kick these people off of our potential suspect list.
Yeah.
And by you not being truthful with us, that's kind of creating a little red flag saying, you know what?
It's not necessarily that I'm not being truthful. It's I'm still trying to remember.
Hey, come here for a second.
Here's what's going on. You asked for a lawyer, so I can't continue questioning until you get one. Okay? I do appreciate your cooperation. I appreciate you coming down here, taking the time to speak with us. If you want, what I'll do is I'll walk you out, and somebody gave you a ride down here. Okay, we'll get you right back if that's what you want.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm overwhelmed, and
Of course, no, I completely understand. You've been in the police department for a long time. You're getting very specific questions. I understand. I don't blame you. I don't judge you. But if there's a point in time,
I would love to have your card. So
sure.
whenever,
Let me see if I have a card.
if there is something that
Sure.
I hear that I can share, I will.
Absolutely.
I will definitely do that, because if someone close to me is pulling the wool over my eyes.
You're better off calling my phone number down there with the two stars next to it.
Okay.
That's myself, and I always got it on me, okay?
Okay.
Feel free to call me anytime.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes, I appreciate
You got any questions for me before I walk you out?
I don't think so. I mean, is there... I don't need to sign any more of that, do I?
No, but you know what? I got to give you a copy of this.
Okay. Now, the investigation is going to be ongoing.
Yes, it is.
Is there anything that I should be waiting for in the mail, or just...
No, we don't send anything in the mail or anything like that.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Nope. That's all.
Following their conversation with Colette, during which she requested legal representation, the police initiated a more thorough inquiry into her account. It became evident that they needed to further explore the circumstances surrounding her visit to John's residence. Consequently, the decision was made to interview her husband, Samuel Collins, the following day at the police station. This interview aimed to ascertain whether Sam's narrative aligned with Colette's regarding the reasons for her presence at John's residence that fateful night. After speaking with Colette and her asking for an attorney, police started to dig deeper into her story and decide they need to speak to her husband, Sam Collins, next. Sam is brought into the police station the next day to see if his story matches with Colette's regarding why she was at John's that night.
Sam, how are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good. I'm Lieutenant Backwoods, and I
Nice
believe
to meet
you've
you.
already met Investigator Odom. Appreciate you coming in.
Can I get you any water or Coke or anything like that?
Coffee or anything?
Good to go.
You're not thirsty? You look like you just woke
I
up.
I pretty much did.
Oh, okay.
I just had some sweet tea on the way here, so I'm good.
One thing we didn't do, and normally we do it before people come in, you see we disarmed ourselves. I just got to frisk you real quick. I don't have to search pockets.
I
gotta
just
frisk you to
got
make sure
like
you don't
an
have
empty cigarette pack and my fill bottles.
It's just for our safety, that's all.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
So, first off, you were saying, the stuff you'd heard about who John was hanging out with, and he was conspiring to get Isaiah and stuff like that. And who were the people again that...
He was angry with Isaiah because he was spending, John was spending bukus of money with him on pills, like every day. He'd go through 10 to 15 of them things a day, and they're selling them at $30 a piece. You gotta think that's like $400 a day habit John would support. So, all of a sudden he started having money trouble with the sipping cow thing or whatever. And he had been telling me about it because he'd stop by sometimes on break, vent to me about this and that about business, because he's like, I can talk to you, you're a little bit smarter than those guys or whatever, and you understand. And so he was having trouble with that and ran out of money. And he was angry because they wouldn't either front him pills for later or just give him some or whatever, because he felt he spent so much money, why not? And he started complaining, and this is the hearsay that I all get from Josh. Like, some of it John told me about how he was angry with him, but most of it came from Josh, like the specifics. But he just said that, well, we all need to band together and get him or whatever. And I'm like, what does he mean, band together? Like, who's banding together? I'm not banding together with anybody for anything that he has going on. I know that. I told that to Josh.
Before you go further, how do you know John? Like, what's your relationship with him? You know, I mean, how
just through mutual friends. I just met him through Josh.
Through Josh?
Okay. And at the time, you know, I had just got injured and I was seeking more medicine as well. So when I first hurt this leg over a year ago is when the hospital sent me out with basically no medicine. So I went on the hunt for medicine. And that's how I ended up getting intertwined with these people and everything because I was buying pills to try and...
Sam, before we go any further, I just want to let you know that you were not in custody and that you were free to leave anytime.
Okay.
Okay. We just want to question you about, you know, what you know about John and everything else like that.
Totally understand.
I don't want you to think
my full
we're not
cooperation.
coercing you or anything like that.
Yeah.
That you're here on your own free will,
Yeah.
and that we appreciate any help you do for us. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm willing to help.
So you mentioned who would you buy the pills from? Same person that John would?
Isaiah Walker.
Isaiah Walker? Okay. If I showed you a picture of Isaiah, would you be able to identify him?
Yeah.
Did he have any street names or anything like that?
Talk. Yeah, like TikTok, because he takes forever.
That's the same thing Josh said. Have you,
I can't believe he didn't tell y'all what, well, anyway, we'll get to that, but go ahead.
Any other street names that Talk goes by?
V.
Okay.
The letter V.
And how long has Talk or V been out around this area?
Since right before I got shot, I started hearing about him, so about a year and a couple months. That he's been doing his thing here.
Do you know what kind of car he drives or how he gets around?
He never drives.
Okay.
He catches rides, or they'll rent a car and somebody else will drive. He's got one really big fat guy that's usually with him. He's got really dark, like, stripes right here on his face. And he's like, well, it's just
like birthmarks or something?
It's not birthmarks, I guess. I don't know, he's a black guy and he's really, really fat. But for whatever reason, his face, you know, kind of sags, and right here is just dark. Like if you saw him, you would see it. I don't know. It's just, I don't know if it doesn't really look like a birth defect. It's the difference in his skin. And it might be from being overweight or whatever. I don't know because he's, you know, really overweight.
Okay.
Big time.
Take me, your relationship with John. You guys ever have any issues? Or tell me about, like, how many times did you see him? You know, did he come over every day? Did you go over to his house?
I went over to his house one time, and he generally would come over to my house. And for a while there, for a couple weeks there, he came over nearly every day. But it was out of convenience, you know, that his work is there and his home was there, I think, and he would call me just to shoot the breeze or whatever, because he you know, that I'd probably be home and I'd sit there and smoke a cigarette with him in the driveway.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
he
did end up asking me for money whenever those Pittman Cow things started falling off. He said he had some bills behind him, he wanted to borrow some money. I did loan him some money. And we did have an issue with that, but he actually gave me this watch, which I've been wearing in his honor ever since it happened, because right before he started asking me for money, he came to me and brought me this, and he said, here, I want to give you this watch, which this one's too tight. His other watches he showed me actually fit, so I kind of think maybe he found this one or something, because it's not the same length as his other ones, but probably...
When did he give that to you?
That was about a month and a half ago. I think my wife was there when he did that, but it was strange to me even that he did that, but I think it was because he knew he was going to ask me for something soon, you know, because he came over and he was like, I want to give you this watch. He said, because I know you like watches and you like Citizens, because I have a small little collection, nothing real extravagant, you know, and he likes to show off, so he would, you know, show me his Cartier watch or whatever, and he came over one day and brought me this and said, I want to give you this Citizen. I was like, you don't have to do that, man, you know, good. He's like, no, I want you to have it. I'm like, okay. I thought it was a little weird. But
now, I mean, we're not here to jam you up in any way.
Yeah.
But I just need complete honesty from you, okay? Have you ever had anything in your house that you sold to him, such as narcotics or anything like that?
No.
You never sold him any drugs?
No.
Did you ever let him have any drugs that you had in the house before?
What do you mean you're not trying to jam me up? What kind of question? Why do you want to know?
What I'm saying is I'm not going to arrest you for distribution of whatever you gave him. I'm just trying to establish a relationship that you had with him.
Yes, he did come over, and I did give him some medicine from time to time, yes.
And did he pay for that medicine? Or did he give you, like, items like a watch for that?
Well, I think the reason he gave me this watch is because he knew he wasn't going to have any money, and it was sort of his way of buttering me up.
I got you.
And then he told me he was going to pay me later, and that was basically how our thing went. He's like, well, I'll pay you later. You know I'm good for it because I got these stocks and this going on and these comic books, and you know about my watches, so why don't you just give me those, and I'll pay you later. Right. So I gave him some and gave him some and gave him some, and then he didn't pay me.
But how many total do you think he got from you over however long that was?
I don't know exactly. And you're telling me you're not going to jam me up.
I'll tell you, you're not even in our jurisdiction. Okay, you're actually in Beaufort County jurisdiction with the Bluffton Police Department. So I'm not here. We're here to investigate a homicide.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not here to investigate a drug case. Okay.
Yeah, that was somewhat our relationship because he knows I get medicine.
Okay.
So I can have it sometimes, and I knew other people, and he knew I knew Isaiah as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there was that relationship there because there was some of the time where I did have some of Isaiah's, and then he would come and get them and go to work or whatever.
Now, if he knew that...
Actually, I think Isaiah might have been the first person to put me in touch with him, now that I think about it.
If you both knew Isaiah, why would he not go directly to Isaiah and go to you instead?
Convenience.
As far as location or...
Location and...
Or less money or...
Not less money, just less time.
Okay. All right. That's obviously why you call him TikTok.
Yeah.
Right? It takes a lot of time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But, I mean, I quit doing all that, like...
That's fine.
As soon as I lost that money...
I believe you, man. That's cool. That's cool.
Would John...
Because, I know y'all have probably seen into my past, you know? I used to do a lot of stupid stuff. I used to deal drugs. I got in trouble for it.
Okay.
Ended up getting shot over a year ago. And ever since then, you know... I don't really want to talk about it, but you know, I was in Allendale in the wrong place at the wrong time, if that tells you anything. Okay. So after all that, you know, I've really just been standing back from it, you know what I mean? And then the pill thing was just there because of my leg or whatever, and that's how I ended up getting involved with these people. And then Josh Moore and whatever. But go ahead,
Do you think that John might have mistakenly got in his head that you were still selling and had money in the house and stuff like that? Or?
Possibly.
But
I told him at that point in time, I was like, I don't know why anybody, because he came to me and was like, yeah, I heard at the bar these guys talking, and they were talking about how you're an easy mark, and I was like, easy mark? I was like, what am I marked for? I was like, I don't have anything, dude. I was like,
When did you say that to you?
This was during the week prior to when I made that call, or whenever I saw the guys on the porch or whatever.
So a week before, he tells you that you're an easy mark?
That he heard that I was an easy mark from some guys at the bar.
Tell me about this incident.
And at the time, he was already owing me the money and kept saying, well, it'll be a couple days, it'll be whenever, which I didn't ever...
Okay. Tell me about this incident that occurred, these guys coming up to your house. I'm not too familiar.
At first, I was in my bedroom one night, and I hear somebody tampering with the AC unit. And I go out first, and my stepmother, or my mother-in-law, she thinks it's raccoons, because she'll throw scraps out in the yard or whatever. She's like, oh, it's probably a raccoon. I've seen them out there, you know. So I go out there and I look, and I don't see anything, and I go back in my room, and then the next time I hear somebody kind of talking. So I knew somebody was out there, and I just stayed quiet. And that's when I thought I heard something on the porch. porch, and we had
Sure.
lights that were lit up, which they ended up tampering with them to where they don't work now.
Wow.
Yeah, so they were on my porch, and I looked through by my wife's vanity in her bedroom. I could see through the blinds, and I could see over, and I just saw a guy in a yellow jacket, and then another figure. I couldn't really tell much more because I went back immediately, you know, and then, so whenever I saw that, I figured I'd try to spook them, so then I flipped the lights on in my room and came out in the den and flipped the lights on. I was like, get the hell out of here, you know what I mean? Like, we're calling 911. Which we didn't. I just heard him bolt, and I could hear him running across the yard, and then I waited a little while, and I saw a car leave from down the road hauling butt.
Did they ever fire any shots at you?
Mm-mm.
How do you, from my understanding, there were some bullet holes in your trailer.
In my house?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are. There were some that were there when we moved in.
So there were no bullet shots this night? This night that these guys came to the house, they didn't shoot at you, is what I'm saying?
No.
Okay. And you said
I mean, that's kind of what I made Josh think, because Josh starts all the rumors.
Okay.
So I did that on purpose.
Okay.
To try and hopefully make them think it's more severe so that maybe they leave me alone or something. You know what I mean? I figured if I told that to Josh,
so
maybe
what did you tell Josh? Because now I'm a little confused. What did you tell Josh happened?
I told Josh that some guys came in and shot at me.
Okay.
And that I shot at them, but I don't own guns.
Okay. And
I was lying when I said that. That never happened.
You told him this because you wanted to get the word out there or something?
That's what I wanted him to think, that I was armed, I guess. That was my way of making him think that I was armed, or if somebody came in my house, I could get rid of them or whatever, because obviously I can't have a gun and I feel vulnerable over there.
Okay.
Who was home?
Take me back to that.
My wife showed up. Who was home when?
When they came to on your back
Just
porch.
me.
It was just you at home.
Well, my wife, yeah. She came home immediately after.
But didn't you just say that your mother-in-law was there? You just said that
you said something about the raccoons.
And I quote,
no, she was
mother-in-law
talking about
in the house that time of robbery.
No, I didn't say anything about a robbery.
Not robbery. I'm sorry. She was in the house.
You were like, you need to take better notes.
Okay.
She was there the night when I saw the guys on the porch. Now there was a few nights that I heard people out there and stuff. Now the night that he's talking about when my door supposedly got kicked in, she wasn't there. I was there.
Okay.
And I did think that I heard some people out.
Tell me about that incident. What happened with that one?
That one, basically, I heard some guys on the porch again, I thought. So I flipped the lights on out there, and I thought that I heard footsteps. And this is just stuff that I think that I'm hearing, you know. And I'm pretty sure that I saw a figure run across my yard when I looked out the kitchen. And,
okay. Did they fire shots at you that day?
No.
Okay. Now, which story did you tell Josh? Did you tell him about?
I don't remember exactly what I told Josh.
Okay, because I'm just trying to piece together what Josh said.
Well, Josh, you got to think about Josh too. Is he tells a whole lot, but only a certain percentage of it is true.
Okay.
Because he likes to sway people to think different things, and you know that's why he's protecting Isaiah, because that's his meal ticket.
Okay. Now let me ask you, on this first time that these guys came to your house with your mother-in-law in the house, did you all call 911? Okay. What about the second time that supposedly you were there alone? Did you call 911?
I called 911.
You did call 911. Okay. And did the police come out?
No. She called back, and the dispatch lady.
Oh, okay.
And I said that basically my wife was in the house, and I wanted to make sure she was okay. She wasn't responding, and that she did, and we were fine. And that was it. Which she had just showed up, and I was worried about her because I saw her car, actually, and the door was open, and I went outside, and I saw her car, and she wasn't there, but she had gone
So these guys
looking for somebody. She got out of her car and went around the building. I didn't see her. I'm like, oh, my gosh. And I called 911, and then I was like, baby. And then she talked back to me and came walking over, and that's when the lady called, and I told her I was worried about my wife, and she's fine.
These guys that keep coming back to your house, I mean, if they're coming back multiple times, I mean, that's got to be concerning for you.
Yeah.
Obviously. obviously. I mean, and you say you don't have any weapons in the house or anything like that.
No.
I mean, that would draw me to, what are you guys doing for security, added security for these guys to come back to the house? If these guys keep coming back, I mean, what's preventing them from coming back again, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I put the word out that I called the police and stuff like that, and I told Josh and that, I told him that we had new cameras up and stuff that aren't there, which we do have one little camera that we got, and we didn't end up getting any footage, but.
How do you think these guys found out about your house?
I honestly think either they already knew about it because of 6 months ago, before I got shot, I was selling weed.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those guys from down on the boys knew about me. There was one guy that calls himself P, keeps his eyebrows shaved, and his hat cocked to the side. Now, he's one of the only people from down that way that would know where my house is.
Okay.
Unless John told him where it was, but I don't know why he would. Or
is P a black male, white male?
Black male.
Black male.
Which I haven't seen him in a long time, but he was around, during when somebody may think I had a lot going on, because that's what I told John. I'm like, I don't know why they think that there's anything to get here, because I don't have anything. Like,
sure.
I don't have any weed anymore. I was like, all I have is my medication. I was like, and I really don't have much money, I mean, we've got our TVs and stuff in there, but that's it. I was like, I don't understand.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't make sense why somebody.
He said, and then John told me, he said, well, I think somebody's either got some 6-month-old information, or they just got the wrong information.
That's what John told you?
Yeah, he said, because for whatever reason, they think that you're a mark for them to try to get.
That night when you were home by yourself, prior to this happening, people being on your back porch, did you have anybody over that night?
John came over that day.
John was over that day?
What time was he over there?
He was over there, he came over in the morning at 10 or 11. He left for about an hour. He came back. So he left for an hour, then came back, and then he and I went to Home Depot and actually picked up a wireless camera, and I picked up some clamp lights to try and put some lighting around, and he basically hung out with me, but he was acting really nervous and stuff too. Like,
why do you think he was acting nervous?
I don't know. He was just.
How long?
It seemed like he was like wiping sweat, and he just kept smoking cigarettes.
After he left, how long was it after he left that these guys supposedly came to your house?
A matter of probably 30 minutes to an hour.
You don't find that odd?
A little bit, yeah.
Did you talk?
I asked him about it.
Yeah, what'd he say?
He said, well, I went and talked to all the guys that I know and told them that you were my friend and not to go over there. And I said, well, you sure you don't know anything about it? He was like, no, dude, I promise I don't. He said, all I know is the stuff that I heard at the bar. He said, but I'll see what I can find out and see what I hear. I mean, I didn't directly think that immediately, that.
Okay.
Because I don't know why he would do that, because I didn't, because he knew that I didn't have anything, so I didn't see his motive.
Did he ever?
Other than the fact that he owed me a little bit of money, but that's not enough money for that.
Do you ever recall a conversation you had with him over the phone in which he told you that he set you up? He was the one that set it up?
No. Do y'all have that conversation? Because I'd like to hear it.
No, this is just through hearsay. So
that's Josh. You know what? Josh is the one that told me that. He told me that he sort of admitted it, but he never told me specifically. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And how'd you feel?
John never called me and told me.
Okay. How'd you feel after Josh told you that? About John?
I mean, I wasn't real happy about it, but I also didn't really believe it because it's Josh.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me about your relationship with your wife. I mean, you guys been married for how long?
14 years.
14 years?
Wow. Yeah.
Okay. And did you guys have like a rocky point
Yeah.
somewhere? What happened with
A couple years ago. She just, I don't know, we were having issues, and I think with her it might have been some addiction issues she was having with pills, and I was trying to get her to stop, and she didn't want to stop, so.
She was addicted to pills?
Yeah, from her cancer.
Oh, okay.
And I was just trying to get her to stop, but when she gets in that mind frame, there's no stop, there's F you, because you want me to stop, or you're trying to stop me. And that's the way she was then, because whenever she went through cancer, they gave her so much medicine, it was ridiculous. So then afterwards, I tried to help her to get off of it, you know, and it wasn't very much longer that she ended up taking off. But she ended up going up to Augusta and told me she was staying with her mother and her aunt, and took my son up there.
So you were in the house by yourself. How long did she do that for? How many was it?
That was for like a week and a half.
Week and a half. Okay.
And I ended up, you know, wondering where the heck is my son now, you know, because I've always been in his life. I've been the constant thing in his life. And so I ended up calling up her mom, and I'm like, where is my son? I want my son back. I said, I can't get a hold of my wife. I said, she's been telling me, well, I did get a hold of her a little bit. I said, but I can barely get a hold of her. When I did, she was being rude. She tells me that she's been over there with you. She's like, I haven't seen her in days. I said, well, I want my son back. So I looked into my phone records and realized that she was talking to somebody up there.
She was talking to...
Are you looking around because I'm looking there?
No, because I'm looking for my phone, that's all. That's all.
That's what I do when I'm thinking about.
Oh, no, it wasn't, had nothing to do with
To
you.
try to
I was
remember.
looking at my phone.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Anyway, so yeah, that went on. I saw on her phone that she'd been talking to another man, and I figured out who it was, and it's a guy named David Heyman, and it turns out that it was her stepmother's brother, which is just terrible to me. So, or no, at that time I didn't realize that. I'm trying to remember exactly how it happened. Oh no, this is how it went. The first time when she left and did that, she came back all screwed up on drugs is what happened. And that was before she left. Then, a few months later, after I got her to kind of stop the pills then, I guess she really didn't want to, and this is when she really took off and went to Augusta, and I had my son this time. And, shit, I can't remember. It's something I don't like to remember.
That's okay.
You know what I mean? I really don't want to talk about it.
No, that's fine.
Okay, so we split up for about a year and some change, almost 2 years, and got back together in the middle of it for a little bit, and, you know. Sure. But then, I'm trying to think, she came back in April, not last April, but I believe the April before. So we've been together ever since then. Things have been good.
How was her relationship with John?
I don't know. I mean, I know that he took a liking to her. That I could tell a little bit.
In what way? I mean, like,
They were smoking a cigarette on the porch together one day, and he came in and he goes, "Oh, she's just so nice and so sweet and pretty. You're so lucky." Just that.
And how'd that make you feel?
Good.
Good. Well, yeah. Anytime somebody compliments your girl, you feel good, right?
Yeah.
so you didn't feel he was stepping over the line or anything. It's just that he liked her.
It was a compliment to
Okay.
me.
Okay. All right. I gotta ask you, are you aware that she was over at his house the night he was murdered?
She did mention to me when she came home that she stopped by there.
Okay.
Why did she tell you she didn't tell me?
No, I don't know if you knew her now. That's what I'm asking you. If you knew that she was.
No, she told me that she stopped by.
Okay. Does she normally stop by his house?
That's what I asked her.
Yeah.
And she said no. She said she just wanted to stop by just because she had was concerned about him or whatever.
Okay. Now, Tuesday night, where were you?
I was at home.
You were at home
with my son and
what?
My mother-in-law.
Your mother-in-law was home too. You remember what time she came in that night?
I think it was like 1:30 or so.
1:30. Okay.
Maybe. I mean,
she
woke me up briefly, but I didn't really.
Do you remember her demeanor?
She was drunk.
She was drunk?
Yes.
Okay. Where did she say she was drinking at?
I didn't really ask.
You didn't ask? Okay.
I just assumed it was at work, and then, I don't know, at that point in time at night, I just didn't get into it, really. I just kind of went back to bed and figured she'd talk about it the next day.
She didn't tell you why she was late coming home? What time does she normally come home?
Sometimes it is kind of late like that.
Okay.
But I don't,
So
she works at Secession, so sometimes the guys will stay out there and drink late, so sometimes they stay later and she'll cocktail waitress and sometimes not.
Okay.
Just depends.
Okay.
I mean, I did ask her the next day, have you been going over there? I was like, because Josh called me and told me what happened, and then I was like, and then she said, well, I was over there last night, and I was like, why were you over there? What the heck are you doing over there? And that's when she told me. Well, I stopped by because I was concerned. I was like, well, is this something that you've been doing? I was like, because I would like to know.
Right. Do you think that she might have been intimate with him?
I sure hope not.
I mean, because, and not to bring up a sore subject with you, but you remember her behavior when she dealt with your stepmom's son. Does she kind of exhibit the same behaviors over the past couple of weeks with John?
No. I mean, I wasn't suspicious of her.
You know her more than anybody. That's why I'm asking. You know, if you notice any different in her change in her behavior or anything like that. No.
And she can't really have sex that well because of her, the procedures they did when she had cancer. Her vagina has drawn up very, very tight. She also doesn't really have a sex drive because she's been going through menopause. So sex is not really the first thing on her mind.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think. I mean, she likes to be treated nice and for me to be nice to her and kiss on her, and stuff like that and hugging, but she's not like she doesn't really get horny per se. But if you could show me the clothes you found over there, I can tell you if they're hers. She already told me y'all found some girls' clothes or something and asked if her DNA was going to be on it.
Yeah, we're getting those tested as we speak, so we don't have them here. So unfortunately, I can't show them to you because they're up at the BCSO.
What were they? What they look like?
They were panties.
What color?
You tell me what color she has.
I mean, she has different ones.
Okay.
Any idea what she was wearing that day as far as color?
Yeah. Maybe black.
Black.
Okay. Were they black?
I don't remember. I'm not the one who sees the panties. Okay. Now, I
don't think that she would do that, and I certainly don't think she would leave her clothes there.
Right. Do you think she would be involved with anything to hurt John? She never spoke ill will of him, or?
No.
Okay. Who do you think was involved with this?
I honestly think that he incurred a drug debt with somebody else. Either the guys because I think from what Josh was telling me, he was trying to help these couple of guys rob somebody. Like they were planning on trying to rob Isaiah. Like they wanted him to pull up on Goethe or something at the stop sign, and they were going to run up on him and rob him. And he asked Josh, "Should I do it, man? Should I do it?"
Who'd you learn that from?
From Josh.
Josh told you that?
Yeah.
Okay.
He said that. Yeah, he said that John told him, that's what he was going to try to do, and he said, "Do you think I should do it?"
Has John ever told you that he was asked to do that?
He did mention to me before that he wanted to rob Isaiah.
Okay.
but he never told me specifically like how or when or what, you know.
When did he first start talking about that?
Whenever he was coming over to my house and getting those things from me for free.
That was around the time that...
Because he was getting angry with Isaiah because he wouldn't just give them to him. So he was getting angry with him because he couldn't get what he wanted.
Sam.
So I think either Isaiah and them had something to do with it, because it's awful coincidental that the day before, John calls Isaiah, or he called this other guy and Isaiah was listening. This is what I get from Josh. And he's not going to tell you this because he wants to protect his pill income, which is why Josh doesn't like me right now, because I don't help him with pill income.
Okay.
And he said that John called up and told whoever he was talking to over speakerphone, he said that the DEA is building a case against Talk, and if he's not arrested this week, then I'm going to get him myself.
Do you know when he made that phone call? Did Josh say when he made that phone call?
That would be...
You said it was the day before?
The day before something happened, so it would be... well, I think it was Tuesday.
It was the day he was murdered.
It was either Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
I think Tuesday.
And Josh said that he called from his phone. From John. John called from John's phone.
From John's phone, yeah.
Okay.
And he said that, which he had been saying stuff similar to that for a while. You know, so I don't know if they took it personal or they thought he was just blowing more smoke because he's angry they wouldn't give him pills or what. But my thoughts are that either it has something to do with the way that he had been threatening them with police action and stuff, and they kept hearing about him trying to get those two guys to rob him, or...
Which two guys was that again? That was...
I'm not exactly sure, but I got a vague answer from John that it's like Adrian Jones and possibly Kenny, the boys Kenny.
Yeah.
Messed
yeah,
up teeth.
I know Kenny.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
Let me ask you something. And our job is not only to develop suspects, it's also to eliminate them, and that's why we're here, and that's why I appreciate you being here. A couple of things that I asked if you would give us consent for is, one, your DNA. Would you mind giving us your DNA?
So y'all already have my DNA. But yeah.
Who has your? We don't have your DNA.
SLED does.
We're not SLED. We're Bluff.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, we have a separate database.
Yeah. And then two, would you give us consent to search your house and your vehicle?
No.
You wouldn't give us consent to search your house and vehicle?
No, that's just...
Okay.
Feels like invasion of my privacy, and there's...
That's fine. That's why we asked for consent.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I figured I'd ask. You know, again, that just helps eliminate you more, just to show that there's no guns in the house or anything like that.
I mean, SLED's involved in the investigation, and they have my DNA. I paid for it.
I don't know anything about SLED having your DNA.
Because I was a convicted felon.
All we gotta do is just take a quick swab of your mouth, and you're done. So you mind doing that for us? I mean, we won't come to your house. We won't search it. We can't search it without your consent. Okay, just figured. You just check that off the list. That's all. Okay. Sit right here. If you got more questions for him, just...
Okay. Well, so as far as when he told you that he was wanting to rob Isaiah. He said that was back near the time that he's hanging out at your house a lot. So that was probably around the beginning of this month, end of September time frame. Is that when it was?
Yeah.
Okay. So right around shortly after Sip and Cal went under, basically, was when he really started hanging out a lot. Okay. Did he ever mention people or businesses he was indebted to?
No.
Now,
I know that he said that he knows the guys on Gothi and some guy named Jafar.
Jafar?
Who's supposedly one of the bigger players over there. And,
Well, how did, like, what did he give you as far as his relationship with Jafar?
nothing much, just that he knows him and they respect him because he employed some of his family at the restaurant.
Jafar respects John because he employed his family?
Yeah, that's what he was saying. And I think, you know, he could have possibly, you know, racked up a drug debt with them as well, so, I don't know.
So it sounded like he was basically just swiping up pills wherever he could find them. Like anybody that would give them to him, because obviously he didn't have any money, so it's basically anybody that would hand him out.
Yeah, he'd take them.
When did he start getting real heavy into pills like that, do you know?
Probably a few years ago.
Oh, so he's been a constant habit for a while. With your wife, when we were talking to her yesterday, she seemed to be under the impression that the situation at your house was a little bit more involved than just you guys on your back porch. She thought they had actually made a solid effort to get into the house, and kicked at your door and that sort of thing. Um, is there any reason why she would have believed that instead of?
Maybe because right when she got home, the door was swung open, and
Okay. Why was that?
because I left it open.
Okay. When you
Came outside.
gotcha. Okay. Well, that makes more sense.
I forgot the swab.
Hey, Sam, let me ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Who's that? You know that person?
Yeah.
Who's that?
I believe his name's Terrence.
Terrence?
I don't know, though. He might have showed me somebody else's ID at the time. Why are you asking me about him? Curious.
Because I'm asking if have you ever met V or TikTok?
This is not him.
That's not him?
This is another dude that I know that calls himself Zip or Ziploc. I thought his name was Terrence. This is Isaiah Walker.
I don't know. This is just a name.
No, this is another guy that just got out of prison that I used to know, that I ran into recently, and now his hair's cut short and he works at A Plus Moving or something.
Okay. How about this guy?
Nothing. I've never seen him, but that must be that Adrian Jones guy or something.
You never seen this guy?
Just let me tell you. You're holding it like so far away. I don't have very good eyes. Honestly, no. I would recognize and remember that face.
Do you have relatives? Sisters, brothers?
I have a stepsister in town.
You have a stepsister. Does she have any children?
Yeah.
What are their names?
Christopher and Robert.
Christopher and Robert?
They're little kids.
Okay. How about any other relatives or anything like that?
What do you mean?
Like, do you have other sisters or brothers? Or
Yeah. Yeah, I have a brother and a half-brother and step-brother and a stepsister.
Do you have a half-brother or half-brother, or you have somebody with a family member that has biracial children? No. Okay. All right. Maybe I'm confused. No, because
Why were you asking?
Just taking one.
the reason why I'm asking is because this person is supposedly related to a Collins, and I just wasn't sure. If
No, he's not related to me.
No, he's not related to you.
We have
Right beside your cheek there.
So you're saying that's definitely not
That's not him.
Or D, or whatever his name is. Isaiah.
Josh probably told you it was because he didn't want to tell you who he really was.
Okay. And this guy's name is Jeremiah?
I think his name's Terrence.
Terrence?
He was living in 1313 in Josh's neighborhood in Plantation Point.
1313 Plantation Point?
I don't think he's there now. I think either his baby's mama or another relative is living there. But his dad lives in Simmonsville, and he works at A Plus Moving or something. They have green T-shirts.
Okay. Now, how many times have you met?
Now, he might have, plenty of times. That's not him.
Okay. Does V have long hair like that? Or
no, he looks like Kanye West.
You're the second person to say that.
He's got short hair and a short beard and looks like Kanye West.
Really? Okay.
So maybe his name isn't Isaiah Walker, you know?
Yeah. Have you ever called him by his name before?
Yeah, and my wife did.
She's called him Isaiah?
Yeah, he didn't like it very much.
He didn't like it?
No.
Why not? What do you say?
Because he doesn't like people knowing his name. He was just like...
All right. Interesting. All right, you got anything else for him?
The only other thing, going back real quick again to that night, the other thing your wife told us was that when she walked in the house, she actually picked up a couple of shell casings left from when those guys came in. She said, basically what she told us was that they kicked in the door, you're in the bedroom, they look in the bedroom, see you, blindly fire a couple of shots around the corner in your general direction, and then take off, basically, is what happened. So to get a story that different from what you've given us, it kind of raises questions about what's going on with that.
I don't know why she thinks it happened just like that.
And it may not be that specific, but she did say she picked up some shell casings.
Yeah, I remember her picking those up.
So where did those come from?
I don't know.
So these guys did fire at you, or no?
No.
It's not gonna. The reason why I ask is it's not gonna change anything. We just need to know if somebody's willing to try to kill you, then they may also be trying to kill John.
Yeah, they fired at me. I just don't want y'all messing with me. And
we're not here to mess with you. I already told you that.
Yeah, they came through the door and fired at me.
Okay. And did you fire? Did you have a gun and did you fire?
No, I hid in her closet. Flipped the lights on.
Okay. About how many shots did they fire?
Just two.
Just 2 shots. Was your mother-in-law in the house when they were fired the shots? You were alone?
I was alone.
Okay. Well, that's.
And she showed up right after, and that's when I ended up calling 911 and saying my wife was okay. I just didn't want to. I don't know. I just didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want y'all to just. I don't know.
Okay. You were untruthful with that, and I understand. Was there anything else that we discussed that you?
No, everything else was 100%. It's just that incident is the only thing that I was.
So if you did not, truthfully, you did nothing wrong there. Why would you not reveal that to us?
Because I just thought that. I don't know.
Tell me what you're thinking.
I just thought I could maybe get in trouble somehow. I don't know.
For somebody shooting at you?
Or just cause me more issues, or y'all to come over more. I don't know.
Okay.
I have a seasoned past. I just makes me nervous. I don't know.
Okay.
Because it could make y'all think other things about me or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I'm not here to judge.
All I can tell you is it made me nervous to tell you about it, and I don't know exactly why. It just did.
Okay. Fair enough. And as well,
But everything else I've told you is.
And I believe you, but as well, if you fired back, then I'm not here to say, you know what, he's not supposed to be in possession of a gun.
The reason why we're asking about that is because it's from everything we've been told is that nothing was they didn't ransack your house, they didn't break stuff, they didn't steal stuff. So they come in, they shoot at you.
They came in, they shot. I flipped the lights off and dove in my closet and held the door shut.
And they didn't shoot into the closet.
No, they didn't know. I don't think they knew I went into the closet.
Let's get it straight. In this particular situation, you're the victim. And we're here for you. We don't want this to happen again. If these guys come with guns and they're shooting at you, we don't want it to happen with your 9-year-old son.
I know. Me
or your wife, you know. So that's why I'm asking, you know, what prevents these guys from coming back is maybe, you know, you're trying to protect yourself and you happen to find a gun in the house and you shoot back or whatever. I mean, that at least prevents them from coming back. Otherwise, you know, now we're concerned that these guys are going to come back. If they just shot John, now they're going to come back for you because they already shown a proneness for violence. And we don't want that to happen to you or your son or your wife or your family. Either. So is there anything part of this?
How would me shooting back change any of that?
Because it's going to scare them off. It's going to scare them off. They're going to know that you're protecting your house, and they're not going to come back. I mean,
well, I probably scared them off.
I would do the same
say
thing.
That. Okay. Let's just say that I scared them off.
Okay, you scared them off. Fair enough. All right.
But I currently have no weapons or anything like that.
Okay. Whose weapon was that you used to scare them off with?
I didn't necessarily do that. I scared them off. That's all I want to say.
Okay. You can't tell us how you scared them off?
I mean, you pretty much know already, so no, I can't. I mean,
I don't know. That's why I'm asking. You know, again, you're the victim in this situation. You're allowed to defend yourself, especially in your house. You ever hear of the castle doctrine?
What does it say? That felons can have firearms? I don't think so.
Well, what it says is that you're allowed to protect your house.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm aware of that, but I don't have anything else to say.
Okay.
Without a lawyer.
Okay. I understand. I'm not here to jam you up. All right. I trust that if we have any further questions, or if you hear anything,
I'll definitely let you know.
Detective Odom's going to give you his card. Please. I mean,
definitely.
I know that word on the street spreads quickly.
Yeah.
And if somebody starts bragging about what they did, you know,
I'll definitely let you know. They need to be taken off the street.
Even if you want to remain anonymous and say, hey, this is what I heard.
Yeah.
You know, if you could give us a call.
It would make me feel safer.
Like I said, we're here to solve a homicide. We're not here to worry about drugs or anything like that. Okay. So if you do hear anything, please let us know. How did you get up here?
We brought them. Yeah, they gave me a
ride. I'll tell you what, if you don't mind sitting in the
I'm going to step outside and have a cigarette real quick.
And we'll have something to give you right back, all right?
All right.
I appreciate your time. I really do.
Following the interviews with both Colette and Samuel, during which they invoked their right to legal representation, the police lacked sufficient evidence to detain them. Consequently, they were released. However, the situation took a significant turn shortly thereafter when Sam was pulled over for speeding and a non-functioning taillight. The subsequent search of his vehicle led to the discovery of marijuana, resulting in his arrest. A shotgun shell was also found in his pocket, leading to further suspicion. With probable cause established, the police obtained a search warrant for the Collins residence, where they uncovered an empty gun safe. This development intensified the investigation. A crucial breakthrough emerged when the police examined Sam's text messages, revealing a damning communication to a friend that read, "I didn't want to wake you. I put the gun in the back of your truck. It's wrapped in camo." This friend subsequently confessed to having loaned Sam a shotgun of the same caliber as the murder weapon for protection. Ballistics tests confirmed the weapon's involvement, while Sam Collins' DNA was found at multiple points on the firearm. Subsequently, both Sam and his wife were arrested, with suspicions suggesting that she had driven him to Jonathan's house, potentially implicating her in the crime. The truth eventually emerged. A highly intoxicated Colette had confessed to Sam that she had visited Jonathan's house earlier that fateful night. Consumed by jealousy and rage at the thought of his wife's potential infidelity with his friend, Sam seized the shotgun and, with drunken Colette as an unwitting accomplice, demanded, "Take me to John's house." After committing the act, Sam admitted to fleeing the scene